Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Autocrat Primer, where we love us some what?
I don't know, all kind of things.
All kind of things, and we're going to be talking about some conspiracy theories tonight. Yes, I have a podcast that I do conspiracy theories on. I thought I would bring that over into Autocrat Primer. I know a lot of people are going to be like, what? ACP, we talk about Transformers and toys. Why are we talking about conspiracy theories? Because it's going to be the best thing ever. Are you certain it's going to be the best thing ever? Or is it going to drive people crazy? I think it's going to be the greatest thing ever because they're going to see that I'm crazy. And that's fine. That's fine. And I will be able to have some people come on here. They'll come in just a little bit, hopefully soon. Lore Master Starscream and Baby Mall. Yeah, we're going to be getting down the rabbit hole tonight in conspiracy theories and the reason why we have them. So, without any further delay, let's get into this topic. So the topic tonight is really going to be dealing with how can I say this? There's a lot of things that's going on today that just makes you sit there and go, It makes you go, huh? You know, and as a conspiracy theorist, I look at it and go, okay, is there some basic truth to this stuff? And it is possible that it can be. And here is my other favorite host that I will have. Let me get my screen set up right. There we go. So we're going to be getting into conspiracy theories and dealing with the paranormal and stuff like that. How you doing, my main man? I know we just got finished doing a community for all of us. But how you doing, my main man?
I'm doing good. You?
I'm doing real good. Let me I'm going to pull up my conspiracy theorist channel that I have, that you can actually find it on Anchor, which is In the Life of a Conspiracy Theorist. And yeah, I'm pretty happy. The numbers just keep going up and up and up. And so we're going to get into talk. And I mean, all these different countries, people actually listens to Autocrat Primer. It's crazy talk. So we did get finished doing the scene or the show, the podcast for Community for All of Us. We will be having that going back up on Anchor. Hopefully by the summertime I'll have more time to do that. But so with that, let's get into the topic tonight, which is dealing with as above, so below. Okay, let's talk about the COVID. All right, let's talk about the COVID itself. Now, I'm not going to say COVID. I'm not saying COVID doesn't exist. I'm saying that it does. I know family members that have had it. I've known family members that have a hard time overcoming it. But I also know there's a vaccine, and I also know that there are people that have taken the vaccine that have died from the vaccine. So it's kind of like, in some ways, you're damned if you do or damned if you don't. And that is something that for me would like perk up and say, why is the solution also being as deadly as the thing that we're supposed to be saving ourselves from? Then, hey, Dragon Slayer, welcome first. The other thing we're going to talk about is that we have how you have sorcery being mixed into this stuff and symbols. So we're going to talk about that and ghost. So let me do this. Let me bring up ancient magic. So let's see here. Now I am running into a thing right now. Well, this is actually funny. I'm looking at this called Ancient Magics, and it's actually a cartoon show and a interesting. What are some spells that really work? Wow. That's interesting. Very interesting that you have that right here. Let's see. So here we go. Here are some symbols of stuff that's in our world today that deal with spells and sorcery and stuff like that. So you have love spells. I mean, and there are people out there that believe that magic is real and believe that it can actually be used against people. You have ancient health sigil. People believe that the different sigils, the moons, I guess you could say the cosmos, the zodiac, and all those things are tied together. And the sun and the moon and the stars. We've had these symbols that date back all the way to antiquity, to go all the way even farther back, that is believed to go back as far as the beginning of the world. And interesting thing is that there is a thing in the scriptures that talks about that you're not to suffer a witch. What's being discussed? We're talking about ancient societies, ancient texts, sorcery, magic, as above, so below. Kind of talk about some of the little conspiracies that go along with it. We figured we would do something like this, would be a part of our paranormal side of things that we're talking about. And a lot of people, don't realize that that is by the intent that these things are done. And they date all the way back. I mean, matter of fact, some of the ancient texts, such as the Book of Enoch, talks about how the magic spells came into existence in the first place. It was given to them by the sons of God, the fallen angels, taught the daughters of men how to make weapons and taught them spells, sorcery, to be able to control, manipulate, and change reality itself in some shape, form, or fashion. It's also the notion that you can speak something into existence. And, and a lot of people don't know this, is that actually these ancient spells and symbols are actually put in our movies today, such as Doctor Strange. Yeah. Doctor Strange. Yeah. The Book of Magic, blue magic, white magic, black magic, star symbols. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit tonight. And you're more than welcome to jump in and join if you want to, dealing with this TFN gate. Let me bring this down. Let me send you a link if you want to. So check your Discord. I'll send the thing out in that Discord. Now, Lord Master Starscream and I had a discussion about this because he was talking about, asked me about Harry Potter, if I'm not mistaken. And, I looked at Harry Potter as a fictitious story, but then I had to go back and look at Harry Potter and look at some of the symbols that they used in Harry Potter. And I had to be honest with him, as a paranormal researcher and someone that looks into the occult thing as a literal entity itself. Can I have some of this? I was looking at it going, okay, yes, even Lord of the Rings, even Doctor Strange, even um, the TV show Supernatural, um, Buffy the Angel, more so at Riverdale, and also Salem, which is Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, starting to take a look at those things. And I was like, wow, they're really using real magic symbols. And I know people sit there and think, oh, magic is nothing. You're just going beyond insanity here. And that's why I was like, don't forget the Twilight Zone. Yes, the Twilight Zone dealt with that. You want this here? The Twilight Zone dealt with it too. Oh, hey. I don't know if Tia Fangeek's got to see our new. Hey, Tia Fangeek, this is our new member, and I sent you a link in Discord if you have time. You want to jump in. This is our new addition to our house. Just give me a second. Let people see you. You hear that she's going to the kitchen. You think she's getting you something. Go get it. She might be nice to let you have something. But I'm going to talk about this from the paranormal side of things. I'm going to talk to you about this as being real, not something that's fake, not something that's make believe, but something that is truly real. And I'm going to use scriptures also that will be dealing with the subject matter and talk about the subject matter too. Thank you, Sweet Pea. So give me just a second. Oh man. Oh, it looks so good. Old Smoky. Oh, I like the little cup that she's got. Nice. The Tennessee thing, very nice. Yeah. You should be fine. Hello, TFN Geek.
Greetings, my fellow Transformers collectors.
How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Oh, that's much better. Yeah, I am doing fantastic.
That's awesome.
I just couldn't help it.
I love it. That was awesome. And so you got confirmation. I want to make sure I got this right. You got confirmation for the Megatron.
Yeah, the copy I ordered myself from Amazon. They're saying it should arrive either tomorrow or Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the closest major city to where I live right now, which I admit is Los Angeles. So depending on how long it takes to move around the Amazon's facilities that they have down there in LA, it should hopefully be here either tomorrow or Thursday. Oh, and on that note, if you will give me a second, I will be right back.
All right.
Because I'm hoping that it is Megatron that shows up. I have a little surprise for you guys. I tried to order something from Amazon, and they sent me the completely wrong item. I got a cardboard box with a label on it saying that a set of plastic beads was inside.
I'll make your stream bigger.
Yeah. So I got a cardboard box that had a set of plastic beads inside of it, and I literally had a WTF moment to myself when I saw that, because what Amazon was supposed to send me was this.
Oh, okay, Warpath, gotcha.
Yeah, so I had to send that back, and I'm waiting for them to refund the money I paid for, or since they sent me a box of plastic beads, and so I had to get a second copy.
Oh, so you got 2 copies of that now?
No, you're misunderstanding me.
I'm sorry.
First time I ordered Warpath, they didn't send me Warpath. They instead sent me a box of beads instead of Warpath.
Got you.
So when I saw that, I told myself, how did they mess up a box of plastic beads with a toy action figure? I mean, how do you get those two things mixed up with each other?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
Yeah, so I had to send that back, and I'm waiting for Amazon to refund me. Hopefully, it'll happen within the next few days. And I had to order a second copy, which technically is the first one that Amazon sent me correctly. So I'm hoping that is a one-time experience that won't happen again, and I'm hoping that it is in fact Megatron that shows up when he comes in, and not something else, because that's what I'm worried about right now. Is that I'll have another Warpath moment.
Well, like I said, I kept the other one. Kept the other one ordered so that if you ended up having something like that happen, when that one comes in, you definitely will still have one.
Yeah, and I will. Yeah, and if it is Megatron and it does come in, I'll correct Primer. I'll private message you on Discord with a photo to show you that it is in fact Megatron. So
okay, good.
So the other copy, if Amazon doesn't let me down and they did in fact send me Megatron correctly, I'll inform you as soon as I can and see how everything works out. Oh,
awesome.
Oh, one last thing. In addition to Warpath, I also got, courtesy of GameStop, 2 other Kingdom Transformers figures that I was originally going to pass up. So here is.
Let me make you bigger real quick.
Okay.
There we go.
Well, thank you. So here's the little lady of nastiness herself, the newest member of the Predacons ranks, Vertebrake. I decided to get her because I figured, even though she's technically not one of the fossilizers, she's still a skeletal fossilized dinosaur. And I mean, just look at that artwork right there.
That's beautiful artwork.
Yeah, I mean,
stop revving.
Yeah. And I also got.
Hey, TFNG.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and so I also got really fast from GameStop. Paleotrex. So I finally
loves that guy.
Yeah, so I finally got myself a copy of Paleotrex. So with these guys and Megatron incoming, I will have all but 2 of the Kingdom Wave 1 figures in my Transformers collections. The ones I still need to get are Cheetor and Core Class Optimus Prime. I'm undecided on those figures because I don't know if I really want the Core Class Optimus Prime figure, and I'm debating on if I should wait for the Netflix version of Cheetor, even though there are 0 Walmarts where I live.
Oh, well, for me, I am getting both of them. I got the other Cheetor, and I'm going to get the Walmart exclusive Cheetor if I find it. So if I find more than one, I'll let you know that too. I think.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks to Otto, I was able to get both Rat Trap, 2 Optimus Primals. I don't have one. Hang on. Let me head to the other room real quick. I might cut out.
Oh.
You can, I'll be in a minute.
So,
and also today I was able to get the Quintesson Judge from Earthrise that sent me. All right, am I lagging or anything?
No, you're fine.
I'm in my room now.
You're okay.
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 So today. All right, so today I got the Quintesson Judge from Earthrise that Otto sent me. And I'll have to go to my shelf, and also I think it was 2 days ago, I can't remember, Otto sent me, yes. I got T-Rex.
Jealous. Super jealous.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, that's why I was asking to make sure that you were having yours, because I had that, and like I said, it'll still be. So yeah,
we'll find out.
And
hopefully, on if Amazon came through.
Okay.
I actually had to.
I have Rat Trap from Otto, and thanks to both. Oh shit! And thanks to both Otto and Behemoth, I have Optimus Primal. And also, I don't think I showed you this one, TFN Geek. I could be wrong. I knocked over my Warpath. I went over to my Walmart and checked, and it was on the same day. Me and Otto on the same day got Kingdom
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. The last time I called my local Target store, they restocked on the Wave 1 figures instead of having the Wave 2 figures like every other Target store in the country got in stock. So yeah, my local Target store is one of the few Targets that still hasn't got any Kingdom Wave 2 figures in yet.
I got mine at Walmart.
I got
well,
Bug Bite.
Walmart because I don't have a Walmart near me.
That's right. Well, the crazy thing is that Lord Master Starscream was really upset because he only had enough money to get. He didn't have enough money to buy 2 of them, and he was like, "I'm really upset. I feel like I was going to cry that I couldn't get you one." I was like, "It's all right, man. It's all right. It just wasn't meant to be right now." And I just happened to say, I've got to stop at Walmart here. I got to go pick something up. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to go by the toy section. Went to the toy section. There was like nothing new that was really put up. I was kind of like, well, it's a bummer. Let me see if there's any He-Man stuff. And there was no He-Man stuff. And I happened to look down, and I never look where I walk. So for me to look down and look where I was walking was out of ordinary. And I looked down to see where I was walking, and right down there at the bottom was a Dinobot. And I was like, get the frig out of Dodge. No, that's not. And is that Dinobot? No, yes. Oh my God. It was. So I picked it up, called Nikki on the phone and said, hey, baby girl, they've got Dinobot. Do I have enough money to get it? And she was like, you do. Just use your account to do that. And I was like, so I did, got me Dinobot, and I told him, I was like, it was meant to be, man. It was just meant to be.
Yeah, I still haven't found Dinobot nor Inferno, so
I couldn't find.
Wait.
I do have Inferno.
Okay. Oh, real quick.
But I had to pick it up on Wednesday. Oh, did you pay Baby Mahal?
No.
By the way, TFN Geek, when you said that Optimus Primal came with white sword, I got white sword. The shiny silver ones, I got the white ones.
No, I told you.
Oh, cool.
You got the white swords, and I got the silver swords.
I got
the silver.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Too.
Yeah, I got the white swords, and since this one here is going to my fiance,
Nikki's got the white swords.
I don't know if she got the silver.
Nikki's got the white swords.
I'll be shocked if my fiance has the silver ones.
There you go. Yeah, Nikki says you got the white swords for Optimus Primal, and I've got the silver swords for Optimus Primal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they found out last month that apparently some copies of Optimus Primal were that the swords came in different colors. So yeah, there's actually 2 versions of Optimus Primal swords. The Optimus Primal figure itself is the same. It's just the blades of the swords that are different.
Now, we wanted to talk because we talked about this after the show because typically we don't have a problem letting anybody in to ask. Apparently, our other 2 co-hosts were supposed to be there tonight. Was not able to make it. But would you like to be a part of the backup? That if you're in the thing and come in and join us in our talks of what we're talking about on a community for all of us, we're going to give you a link every time. And if you don't have a link that's sent to you in Discord, just say, hey, I don't see my Discord link because I forgot to send it to I forgot to hit the enter button to give it to Lord Master Starscream. We're going to have you be as a backup co-host, so whenever you're able to come in now,
sure,
we'll go ahead and have your name mentioned, saying, like we did Collective and Jimbo. We'll have you also, and then whenever you're able to join, you just jump right in and jump into the discussion on a community for all of us, and it'll also be uploaded onto a podcast which will go through Anchor. So we're now having you as a part of a community for all of us. You are now officially one of the hosts to the show.
Yeah, I've been indoctrinated.
You have. We talked about it. Lord Master Starscream and I talked about it. Baby Mahal was like, we typically let people jump in, and I was like, well, we were supposed to have these supposed to have Jimbo and Cognitive, excuse me. And I don't know. I know that Jimbo said he ended up getting busy, but I never heard back from Cognitive. But yeah. So you now are official with a community for all of us. We'll make sure that gets put up on Facebook, and I will try and make sure I put a link on the front page of a community for all of us that will link directly to your YouTube channel.
Yeah. If the community for all of us, if the live stream is the same time of the week that it was today, I'd probably only be on for about half an hour at most.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. That's how it's supposed to be for Jimbo and for Cognitive, and they just wasn't able to make it. So what it will be is like, you know, Babe Mahal, me, and Lord Master Starscream will be the main three.
Mhm.
And now you will be one of the main. You'll be part of the main ones too, just like them. And you'll jump in whenever you are able to jump in, and just jump in, and we'll talk about the topic at hand that we're talking about. And you just jump in on that, and then we'll stay on that track mode. I know a lot of people have wondered about Woofy and why he's not in it. Woofy chose to step down and put more time towards his Twitch. Plus, he does not have a toy channel anymore. If y'all noticed that his channel was gone, and certain things that is behind the scenes, but certain things that came out of that and happened out of that was
Hey,
one of the
Otto.
reasons why he wouldn't be on anymore.
Hey, Otto.
Yes.
How about making a moderator?
Yeah. Now I'll make him a moderator. Yes. Is he a moderator for my channel? Hey, Babe Maho.
Hi.
So tonight, yeah, he's a moderator for this channel too. So I would, yeah, he's a moderator on this one. I'll make sure he's a moderator on the other one. So here's the topic.
Hang on.
Oh, sorry.
Congratulations to you, Fengi. You just got promoted.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll make sure. Hopefully by this weekend, I will have your link to your channel up on the Community for All of Us front page.
Thank you.
So this right now is the paranormal side of our show. That's why we either come here or we'll jump over to Lord Master Starscream's channel, and or if Babe Mahal wants to host, let's let you show up once you get.
To do it.
Okay, then we'll keep it like we got it doing right now, and I'll teach you when I come over Wednesday. You know what? That might be a good thing we do Wednesday, Babe Mahal. I'll teach you how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what you got here real quick before we get into the topic. Ooh, that's Optimus Prime.
Yeah, it's the this is the 2011 Reveal the Shield G2 Optimus Prime, and what is attached to him is his trailer that was released by Make Toys a year after his release.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is the third-party upgrade kit for Reveal the Shield Optimus Prime. So now he's a full tanker truck, just like the original G2 Laser Optimus Prime figure.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
That looks so cool.
Uh-huh.
All right. So the topic tonight is dealing with magic, okay, and sorcery. And this is going into part of the paranormal stuff. And
Abracadabra, Harry Houdini.
Yep. I'm going to go from the side of the biblical side of it, from a demonologist point of view of it. That's where I'll be coming into it. So I will be taking and answering questions with anyone that happens to come into the chat or anything. Yeah, same thing for Baby Mahal. Well, too. So the first thing.
I'm asking questions too.
Okay, that's fine. The first thing I want to point out is that a lot of people, and I'll be using the Bible that I use when I do. I do have a YouTube Bible channel, which is called Glob Truth. I just now have 317 people following me on Glob Truth, and I now have 1,700 people watching my conspiracy theory podcast, listening to it, and it's now gone global, and a community for all of us. I will be putting those back up as soon as I get them to send me my password, because for some reason I didn't write it down, so that's why I've not been able to put anything up on there yet, and I need to. And Nikki's smiling. She's like, if you let me know, I would have
got your password.
Do you have it?
No. That's what Nikki's saying.
She is. Yes, that's why she's grinning like a possum over there at me. She's like, oh, you said you would remember it. And I was like, I did say that. You are so wrong. So, oh, man. So we're going to get into this topic about sorcery, witchcraft, magic, stuff like this. And we're going to talk about the Book of Enoch. And I was looking for my red book bag because it has my copy of my ancient text of the Book of Enoch. I'll have to find it later. Now, in the scriptures, automatically, a lot of people a lot of churches, a lot of people think that witches do not exist. What y'all are seeing right here are actual sigils that are known by either Enochian text or even TV shows such as, or movies such as Doctor Strange, such as Harry Potter,
Sabrina the Teenage Witch,
Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Supernatural. And recently, which I was surprised, is even the TV show Lucifer has now started sharing some of these same sigils in there. And I felt this is something that we should talk about tonight because a lot of people don't know that much about it. Now, from a biblical standpoint, there's a scripture that this is the reason why we had the Salem witch trials. This is the scripture that they based everything off of for getting rid of witches in Salem, and had the I guess what you could say paranormal, not paranoia. Yeah, they became paranoid that everybody was a witch. And it says that and it comes into the 22nd chapter, verse 18. It says, "Thou shalt not permit a sorcerer or sorceress to live." So immediately, this is where it comes into the play that they believe that they have the right to kill anyone that does witchcraft. But that's not really what this is really telling us. It is telling us that we're not supposed to suffer a witch, but that doesn't mean you go out
and kill them.
witches and killing them. What it means is that within the Israelites, within the chosen people, if there was a witch in their midst, that means that they were following the teachings of the fallen angels, the ones that rebelled in the book of Genesis, chapter 6, where they created a new race known as the Nephilim. And witches were the ones that gave birth to the Nephilim. They were the daughters of men that was taught magic, which made it where their bodies was capable to give birth to a little g god, demigod in their belly. And so with this, it became where people associated that what this said in the book of Exodus meant that's for everyone. But this was first and foremost supposed to be only for Israelites. Gentiles did not follow or was under the same covenant, the Abraham covenant, as the Israelites were. Now, we are now seeing a very big increase of sorcery and magic, and a lot of people think that it's fake and it's all, no big deal, nothing to worry about. Actually, this is where I want to talk to us about from a demonologist side of saying that when you go looking for this, if you're a believer or you're a believer in the one true God and Jesus Christ, we cannot go searching out to communicate with witches. And this goes into the book of Samuel. This is also going to get into ghost and the paranoia and the paranormal. Yeah.
In Wyoming.
Okay.
I don't know if she's watching. Oh, no, she would have been watching the other podcast. But I met a person who said she was a descendant of a witch line.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. Because I think that's pretty cool that, that I actually meet like a real, if she is really a real witch or a real ancestry, that's pretty cool. But, she's a very nice lady. She helped with everyone thing. But also, I have a question. It's not just those movies that are showing symbols and sigils of witchcraft. Isn't it our money? Isn't it the government?
Yeah.
It's on our money.
Yes, it is.
Well, that deals more with the Freemasons and the Knights Templar and the conspiracy that the world is that the entire world is actually run by a small group of individual people.
But they have a special book that they read, which doesn't sound like human talk at all.
Well,
One of my
Is that why they're called the Illuminati? Yeah.
I don't
Illuminati
know.
Illuminati was created in 1776.
Wow, the year the United States was born.
Yep. It sure was, by someone that was actually part of our founding fathers that ended up getting kicked
George
out.
Washington.
Well, George Washington, they were Masons. Masons go all the way back to the Temple of Solomon. And
yeah, but wasn't it during the Crusades?
They were also during the Crusades, and where they started worshiping the divine feminine. And that is Sophie. That's also, they associated it with Mary Magdalene, and there is sorcery. I have been approached by the higher up in the Masons early on in my career, early on in my teachings and studies, and I was approached by them, and I was sent. They wanted me to come in because of my experience with paranormal, my experience of seeing the ancient texts, being allowed to see the Dead Sea Scrolls, getting to see these other things, and that my education had taken me in that direction. So they had actually reached out to me, wanted me to be there. They actually sent me a ring, and they sent me a Bible.
Their Bible, right?
Yes. And offered even a very well-to-do life.
Yep.
If I agree,
they're all rich.
Yes, if I agreed to go that route. It was also one of the reasons why I was able to do stuff in movies. I didn't realize that a lot of things that I was doing was that there were certain individuals that were in my life that were wanting me to go in that direction. And when I received that Bible that they sent me and that ring, and I started going through it, and being someone that has discernment and someone that can I see things that some people don't see, and I'm not going to get too much into it, but I see things that some people don't see, and there was something coming off of this really bad, and I was laid on my heart that I needed to bind it as you're supposed to do, scriptural, and also put it into a running water to have it bound, put it into a river, a running water to have it be bound by the water. You're not supposed to burn things, because when you burn it, you release it. Running water is bringing us purity. It's the reason why there had to be running water whenever they did the sacrifices. It's also why Jesus said that he is the living water. It's also why you have to be baptized. Water is very much an intricate
Cleansing.
Yes, cleansing. And so I went to an area, and I did the same thing that I've done with other things that I have come across that's been demonic, and had to get rid of that demonic attachments to those things. I was doing the same thing with this Bible, and I bound it and did it where like you will, like the scripture says, took it to the river, put it into the river, and there was a huge explosion. That Nikki was at the back. Yeah,
it was a loud bang.
Loud bang. Because Nikki was up at the top. She was inside the car. She heard it.
My coworker heard something.
Yeah. And we had one of the biggest floods, and you can actually see the river that I put it in, and the river completely changed course. It no longer flows in the direction it used to. It literally has moved itself to over about 20 feet over, and the area that I had put that Masonic ring and that Masonic Bible in, as I was praying, as I bound it and put it into the water, this big bang takes place, happens, and the whole direction of that river completely has changed. And we had our first big flood. Never had a flood where I live. So never. And Nikki's family had never seen a flood. Living here for 100 years, never had a flood like we had. Shortly after I put this into that river, we ended up having the biggest flood that knocked out 4 bridges and shut down a major highway, and also made it where we became like isolated where we were. because of this, and and people were questioning, thinking that it was military things or something like that was going on. And I was having to sit here going to myself, going, no, this was me getting rid of a Masonic Bible and its ring. And the ring was a very expensive ring. I could have sold it easily. And the book of their rights also, which, and then after that, is when my information got doxxed, is when these people came after me, and he ended up making my life on the internet and my personal life, they ended up making it into this horrific nightmare that for a while made me very paranoid, extremely paranoid. But it was one thing that I didn't realize, is that God was going to let me experience this, go through this, so that Wildfire Productions made 110 subscribers. Way to go, my man. Congrats.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Happy dance.
Absolutely. That is awesome. So as I was doing going through this and going into the paranormal side of it, it opened me up to make me start looking at certain verses in the Bible and go, okay, I can no longer say that this is just somebody that believes they're seeing this stuff, that it's not really happening, and that this only happened in the Old Testament. It doesn't happen in the here and now. Happens only in the New Testament. It doesn't happen here and now. But it says in 1 Samuel, and this is what it means by anyone that is a child of God. If you go searching out these things, this is what God, you are no longer under God's covering. And I experienced this firsthand. It says that Saul said to his servant, seek out a woman who is a medium, that I may go to her and inquire of her. His servant said to him, behold, there is a medium, a witch, an Endor. Paul disguised himself, put on other garments, went, and he and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night, and said to divine for me by a spirit, and bring for me whomever I shall name to you. The woman said to him, surely you know that what Saul has done. Now he cut her off, the medium, and the necromancers from the land. He has purged us from the land. And so Saul, who is in disguise, who is supposed to be the man of God, he's asking this witch to do this for him. He makes an oath to her. This is why the scripture says never swear under an oath. You're not supposed to. And the reason why is that when you're swearing under an oath, you're swearing under you're giving your spirit, your energy to that oath. And you're not supposed to do those things. And when the woman saw, and then he says to her, he says, I want you to bring forth up Samuel for me. And when the woman, the medium, saw Samuel, she cried out with a loud voice. And the woman said to Saul, why have you deceived me? You are Saul. The king said to her, do not be afraid. What do you see? And the woman said to Saul, I see a God coming up out of the earth. He said to her, what is his appearance? And she said, an old man has come up. He is wrapped in a robe. And Saul knew that it was Samuel, and he bowed with his face to the ground. Samuel said to Saul, why have you disturbed me by bringing me up? Samuel answered, I have a great distress, for the Philistines are warring against me. God has turned away from me and answers me no more, neither by prophets nor by dreams. Therefore I have summoned you to tell me what I shall do. Saul said, why then do you ask me, since the Lord has turned from you and become your enemy? The Lord has done to you as you have spoken to me, for the Lord has torn away your kingdom out of your hand, given it to your neighbor David. And because of this, he would die in the battlefield by the Philistines. And so you're seeing that a lot of times in scriptures, people sit there and say, oh, hey, Master Farr, welcome. A lot of people say that ghosts don't exist and spirits don't exist, but we clearly see that these actually take place and happen, that they were real enough that, and the reason why God didn't want us to be around this or be a part of that is that they're actually getting their information from the fallen and not from him. And that's where we have this story taking place in Samuel, where it shows us he's seeking the knowledge that is a forbidden knowledge, but he's trying to receive it in a way to, he thinks, to help himself and the people. But in the truth of the matter is, he's really brought a curse on him. Now, we're getting into the TV shows and stuff like this. This is the thing that gets me, is that the more we have more TV shows and stuff come out, we have where people want to become more authentic, where they want to make everything look extremely accurate.
Mm-hmm.
This is where it becomes extremely alarming and becomes problematic because, like I've told in the last thing that we talked about, your TV is your scrying, your black mirror. And when you put these things on your screen, on your TV, you're actually
Your
put
way to come in.
through a portal through the TV into your life. And you have generational curses that can be tied to those things. Now, a lot of people have asked, since I was a paranormal researcher, did I ever have, did we ever have mediums and stuff like that? Yes, certain teams. Not, I didn't. Certain people did. I knew, and want to give you one scenario. We were at this grave site that was supposed to be during Civil War, and there was supposed to be a lot of paranormal activity, and I had just been asked to come and be an observer. And I immediately recognized this huge dark shadow following us. And then I started smelling death itself. And so, not knowing the person beside that was with us, she was a practicing witch into those arts, I just happened to say the name of God and pray, and she hits what looks like she runs right into a brick wall, and she falls down, and immediately she says to me, "What was that language you just spoke?" And I just said, "Well, it's just my prayer for me to ask him to protect me, because I don't want to take part in this. I am just an observer." And the awesome thing from this is that after that, she wanted to know more about, because she had relied on this entity to give her power, and she had finally had something that was just words itself that knocked her down. What's wrong? Did it? I'm sorry. We can fix it later. And so she has now reached out to us, and I have been able to share with her my faith, and she's been very much open to it. And it lets you know that what these people are doing is absolutely real. They know it's real, but then they actually get to see something that just words that were more powerful than what they were trying to conjure. And that's why I say you have to be very, very careful, because it could have easily gone the opposite direction. I could have easily been like Saul, completely out of God's protection, because of the fact that I was there doing this, but I had been praying about it before, that had come up. But we do have a lot of witches and ones that practice sorcery, and Hollywood has a whole bunch of people into the Kabbalah and into witchcraft. And
I think all of Hollywood is very non-godly.
Yes.
A lot of Hollywood is non-godly.
Ungodly.
Yeah.
That's
Ungodly. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
But
even going back to the 60s, because like when you look at shows about magic back in the 60s, the Twilight Zone, I Dream of Jeannie.
Mhm.
What was that one?
Bewitched.
Yeah, my family and I are actually watching that series right now. What was that other one that was like the Twilight Zone, but it was more science fiction? Outer Limits.
Outer Limits.
Wasn't
Yeah.
there Tales from the Crypt?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tales from the
but
Crypt.
even in cartoons,
Yep.
because as a lot of people, one thing that this was a trivia question I actually got off of a radio broadcast several years ago. But they held a contest asking people, like when you look at the anime, like I think it was 2013 is when it released the cartoon movie Hotel Transylvania, and how towards the end of the film, when Dracula and the other monsters finally leave the hotel and they go out to see what the humans, they see that they're now celebrating monsters. And the trivia question was, because for the longest time people saw monsters as being monsters, like ghosts were ghosts and nothing else to it, just stuff to be scared of. And the trivia question was, what TV show started the phenomenon of monsters not necessarily being
So
scary?
frightening.
Yeah, and the answer surprised me, but then when I heard it I was like, oh yeah, that makes complete sense. And the show that started it, that's credited with starting that, was Scooby-Doo, because by the end of each episode, you find out that the monsters aren't actually real.
They're people.
They're human criminals wearing Halloween costumes. And so the show kind of spread the message that people themselves, that we ourselves can sometimes, if we are filled with greed and the desire to fulfill our own personal agendas, we can become the most evil monsters that exist in this world.
Well, the other thing too is that you have, like, let's take a look at Katy Perry. Katy Perry was started off as a Christian singer. She started off, that's how she got into music itself. And you can clearly see in one of her interviews, she sat there and said, well, I knew if I want to become popular and I wanted to be, an idol, um, I had to sell my soul to the devil.
Wait, what?
Yeah, she literally comes out and says that she sold her soul to the devil. You have that same,
Because her father's a pastor.
yep.
And my aunt didn't know him personally, but she was friends with people who knew Katy Perry's father personally, and they think she went off in the completely opposite direction from her parents to be rebellious and like tell them, I'm going to live my life the way I do, and you live your life the way you live
Yep.
yours. That's one thing, and that's been a paradox with myself personally. 10 years of my life, I turned away from God and didn't acknowledge his existence. Those 10 years were the years when I went from age 4 to age 14. And what brought me back to God was that during those 10 years, I was bullied incessantly at school, and I was like the social outcast. No student, nobody would talk to me unless they wanted to insult me. I mean, I literally felt like I was the least wanted individual in the world, and the bullying was so out of control. My parents decided to send me to Catholic high school, and that was the revitalization for me. Was seeing how many other people are willing to accept that God is real and that he can change your life around. And
Well, yeah, I mean, you're talking to someone that was that pretty much an atheist. But I want to share this clip. I want to share this clip right here. So I'm gonna put mine on mute real quick.
no.
So you have there, and I'm gonna put a link here so you can see it. Now, this is where Katy Perry has said that she sold her soul to the devil. So did Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga comes out and says, "I swear to Lucifer." So, as a paranormal researcher,
Yeah.
knowing someone that actually went out to California, and for the whole purpose, the best way I could describe it, the whole purpose is that they were going to have their firstborn, and they wanted he was looking for, I guess, the best way I could say it's power, and I happened to be that firstborn, and that was my biological father, and he believed in what he was doing, and my mom ended up getting from him. But here's the thing. He used to sit there and say, "You think the devil's got horns and a tail, but the devil doesn't have horns and a tail. The devil looks like you and I. He's just taller and more confident." Well, when you hear these descriptions now that comes out of Hollywood and the music industry, and this is where I tell people this is the problem, is that where in the scriptures, automatically people think that angels have wings and that they're just spirit and they're not physical. But that's on the contrary of what's said in the scriptures.
I thought that it says that nobody really knows what an angel actually looks like.
No, the Bible tells you exactly what an angel looks like.
Oh.
The Bible tells you what it looks like whenever you have them. They come to Abraham, and he sees them, and he runs out to meet them and brings them back to his house to give them food. And they know that Sarah is laughing whenever they tell him he's going to have a child. And they're laughing. She's laughing, and they go, she's in another part of the place. And the angels are said to, why is she laughing? Why is she doubting? Angels are able to read minds. People don't realize this, but the scriptures clearly show us this. There are different classes of angels, and there's an angel that looks like us, but there's also the angels are able to even be a being of light, an angel of light. Now, a lot of people sit there and say that, in the garden, Eve was beguiled by a serpent, and they think that that's a snake, and that its curse was that it lost its arms and its legs and is on its belly. Actually, that's in the English text, but in the actual Hebrew, it's a seraphim. It is a angel that beguiles Eve. It's the reason why she listened to the serpent, because there are angels that are reptilian looking. That's why it says the devil's an ancient dragon. It's because he looks like a reptilian. And you have a lot of different things with that. And the scriptures go into this detail. So here's the thing. Imagine this. You're told that there's a God that you've never seen. Imagine this. You grew up thinking that you knew the scriptures and knew the stuff, but all of a sudden you're questioned, and your whole faith gets completely yanked out from underneath you because you are not fully prepared. And what if you physically met the devil? You physically met him, and he's going to give you everything you want in this world. All you have to do is bow down and serve him. It's the same thing that he said to Jesus. So if people are going and they're actually physically meeting what we call the devil, Satan, and he's able to give them right here and now what they want. Do you now see why it's so easy for these people just to give up their beliefs or faith? And
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's easy for people to give into greed and gluttony.
Yeah.
Most people think that the deadliest of the 7 deadly sins is either hatred, hatred, fear, or vanity. But for me personally, I think greed and gluttony are the two evils because they're the easiest for people to fall into.
Envy too.
Yep. And envy.
Envy
That's
falls into the greed and gluttony because you're envious. Somebody has something, so you're gonna, you know,
Oh yeah,
I
jealousy.
don't know.
Isn't it interesting that we used to want to follow and be a star? Okay, now stars are actually another name for angels. But now everybody wants to be the next idol.
Ooh, not no,
No,
not those.
no.
American Idol.
Ugh,
Think about that for a second.
I know.
Words that here's the thing about magic. It is the intent. And it's interesting because Nikki and I were talking about this, and she actually taught this to me. She said, I always wanted to know why, people would be able to do sorcery and magic, and it didn't matter what language they spoke, it would happen, but they didn't have the same result, but not spoken in the same language. And she was always like, why is it that these things can still happen? I thought it had to be the dialect. And it's actually your intent. Your intent is what gives it its power. That's why it says it's very important to know that names are powerful. Now, a lot of people sit there and think that the devil's name is Lucifer, but it's not. His name was blotted out. There's this thing in the scriptures where it says that your name will be blotted out. If you're not of God, your name will be blotted out of the book of life. What that means that your name was already in it once, but you turned your back on the one true God and your name gets blotted out. That's the same thing with the biggest rebellion, which was the fallen, and his name's been blotted out. The closest that we can come to in Hebrew, that we can come to that cherubim's name, that we call Satan, that we call Lucifer, the closest thing is called Hael, which means he goes a roaring. Well, isn't that interesting? In the book of Peter, Peter says that the devil is a roaring lion, looking to who he could devour. With that, you have Hael in Isaiah, which is the closest thing of this. It is to this text, and it's the intent behind your words. You speak things into existence. That's why I tell people never to beat up themselves. Don't sit there and say, I really suck, or I'm a bad person, or I'm horrible. No. If you speak those words, that the words of intent that you've spoken is what brings those things to fruition.
Oh no.
So you can't speak those things. You've got to be, it doesn't mean you got to be like this motivational speaker and always cheerful and happy. No, you just don't want to have any of these things, because words have power. It's the whole reason why God came down at the Tower of Babel and confused the languages.
Yeah. That's a debate I got about in one of my college classes when I was still going to college, was that what is more powerful, weapons or words?
Words.
Words.
Mm-hmm. Because the example I used was, look at when you look at what was happening in the United States in the year 1776. What weapons do we use to defend ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
One-shot muskets with bayonets on them. Do we still use those today? No.
No.
They've been obsolete. But the words we spoke and wrote on paper, like the Declaration of Independence, does it still exist today?
Yep. Yeah. Morals and Dogma by Oliver Pike, which was a Mason, a 33-degree Mason. He pretty much lets you know that there's going to be all these wars, and he goes into detail how it's going to happen. And he even says, for these things to be, they have to be spoken first. That here's the thing too. Did you know that The cherubim was that Satan that we know now. You realize he was a musician.
You told me that.
Said he had pipes that came off of him, and he was a covering angel. He was actually in the throne room with God. Think about that for a second. And he convinced 1/3 of the angels to rebel against God himself. And they're not in prison. That's the thing I tell people all the time. A lot of people sit there and look at the book of Genesis and they say, well, the devil's he's in the pit. He'll be released in the last days. No, the devil, Satan, hell, he's still on the earth. He's not been imprisoned yet. He's still walking the earth. In the book of Job, and this is what I tell people, that you have to really look at the scriptures and see what it's telling us, because it's telling us that he's literally doing these things. And I'll read it to you and let you see. Can you get me my book of Enoch? It's going to be in my red book bag in the very back. Yeah, you can bring it. You have this moment where Job is being picked. That God's telling God's telling the devil, have you looked at my servant Job? It said, so now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. The Lord said to Satan, from where have you come? Satan answered to the Lord and said, going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it. So the devil is literally walking the earth and is still doing that today.
Mm-hmm.
That's not changed. You realize who is the one that's in the pit in the book of Revelation? The one that's called Abaddon, Apollyon, the destroyer, Shiva. That's Aziel. You know what Aziel looked like? He had a goat appearance. When you looked upon him, he had a goat-like appearance. It's the reason why it's also known as the escape goat in the book of whenever the Israelites would do their sacrifice, they would tie a scarlet ribbon around a goat. They would release that goat into the wilderness, and the goat would walk, and there would be a priest that would pay attention and look at when that ribbon would turn white. If it turned white, it means that God accepted the offering of the Israelites. He accepted their offering, and because he would turn it white. You want to know why they don't do that anymore? Why they don't still sacrifice and still have it go out to and have a ribbon tied to a goat that's known as the escape goat?
Because
what's that? Go ahead.
I was going to say, for some reason I would say because it's wrong, but I want to say that's the wrong answer. I'm not going to. So, but go ahead. I have to hear it come from you.
Hey Ninja Bill, we're talking about supernatural things tonight on the show, as opposed to Lord. The reason why is whenever they did the Passover and they had tied the ribbon to the scapegoat and let it go wander out into the wilderness, and they were watching to see it turn to be accepted by God and turn white. It never turned white. It stopped turning white after there was an earthquake and after there was a darkness that fell upon the earth, and it happened at the same time that Jesus was crucified. That is actually known, and I have talked to rabbis that know that is when they no longer tied the scarlet ribbon around a goat and released it into the wilderness. It goes back to the sacrifice of Jesus. When Jesus died on the cross, God no longer accepted the sacrifice through an scapegoat. And a lot of people don't realize that, and rabbis know this. And it's interesting because he would say, well, what makes you, the one argument that they would have with me or have with, was, well, y'all added the 53rd book and the book of Isaiah. And it wasn't until the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is what was so important when the Dead Sea Scrolls came out, that the fully intact book that was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls was the book of Isaiah. And in the book of Isaiah, it had the 53rd Psalm. So yeah, it's interesting to when you start to see these things and stuff. Recording a few reviews. Awesome. Thanks, Bill. That could be considered supernatural. Always say I want to make sure I see comments. I apologize. I've been missing the comments. No, I don't remember that, Master Far. I mentioned him again. So you also have these things that are taking place and happening in the ancient past. Here's the thing too. Jesus says that he goes and he tells Peter, he says, upon this, I will make you the rock. And he declares that not even the gates of hell will be able to prevail against him. When you find out where Jesus is standing and making this declaration, he's actually making this declaration where the 200 watchers came down and they created witches and sorcery. It's a declaration of war. So what we're seeing in history, and the crazy thing is too, is that languages and dialects and symbols change over time. It's just something that slowly happens, is that the dialects and you could take a look at Paleo Hebrew and Hebrew today. They don't look the same. They look close, but they're not the same.
It gets diluted.
Yes. The magic sigils and the magic symbols are the same for thousands of years. It's not changed. It's come from the same source. Now, did anybody have any questions? I don't need that now.
Nope.
All right.
Now, you were telling me, because I watch Charmed. I don't watch it. It's on downstairs when we wake up.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Charmed, there's Supernatural, which I actually prefer to watch over Charmed because Charmed is stupid. Anyways, you were actually telling me that I shouldn't watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
That's right.
I already watched every single episode they had.
And
you told me as soon as I finished the series.
Yeah, because you're having the statue, the Baphomet, and the first season, the goat head, which is Aziel, that's actually in the pit. And with that, you're seeing that they're actually using a real entity and real intent. Then you find out that they also have a female goddess that they're talking about. That is a real deity. It's a divine feminine. And it is also known as being the first witch.
Which name was it? I can't remember. There's something wrong with my phone. I can't even use my Hey Google. It'll go Hey Google and then it'll search. And then it'll just go blank. Just like my Yahoo.
Huh.
I don't know. I got to restart my phone or something because it's not letting me pull up anything. It's possessed. See? Now my Yahoo Light, I'll be able to because I had to download that, but it won't let me look at my inbox.
Huh. So, what's that, Lord Starscream?
I'm going to say this. I feel like my cousin is possessed. I don't know if you heard some of the words he was saying after the stream.
No.
On what he want. You want me to say it? Okay, I'll tell you how old he is. I think he's 15. And yes, guys, I don't know the age of some of my family members. Don't judge me, all right? I don't get out that much.
I don't even know my age.
Anyways.
I know my age. I'm just in denial about it.
I like that one.
Anyways, when I was bringing up the Christian thing on the last live stream about the Joker and the Justice League dressing up as Jesus, I told him that offends me as a Christian and all that stuff. And he told me, my nephew, like I said, I think he's 15 or 13. I can't remember. Or I'll say right around 13, I believe. He told me to refer to him as Lucifer. And it's bothering me. I did not say that. I was just like, That's all I said. And I'm just saying I got that uncomfortable type feeling. Me as a Christian. So I just like, and that's another reason, for those who are wondering, that's another reason why I stay in my room. Not because my family drinks here and there and it gives me anxiety and it gives me flashbacks to my childhood. That's also another reason. So yeah, I think my nephew's lost his mind.
Yeah. And we're like, in all honesty, the word that the name he's saying is that he's the light bringer. Now there was, one thing that we know that took place in the ancient past is that Jesus refers to the days of Moses. The days of Jonah and the days of sleepy. Time for this ninja. Peace out. Bye, Ninja Bill. Thanks, man. I look forward to those. Look forward to seeing those reviews. Haven't done your contest. Yeah, that's all on me. And I trust me, I've been hearing it from Nikki. Can we do it? Can we do it? I was like, so I told Nikki, I was like, you know what? You can do it, baby girl. I'm so knee deep in this new thing with the housing and stuff tomorrow, and I got to get up early in the morning. Now, here's the thing that takes place. It says this takes place in right before the flood. All right. Here's something also. The gods of Egypt, the gods of the Nordics, the gods of Mesopotamia, the gods of all the gods and all cultures. Did you know they're all the same gods?
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
They are all the same.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you.
Okay, so now, are we also? I know that there's one God, but could our one God be their God? And then Jesus could be their Jesus, their version of it?
And I can explain that to you. And I can explain it to you through the ancient text and what it means too.
Is it because Jesus is the only one who sacrificed himself for the people instead of their gods believing in things being sacrificed for them?
Yes. Here it is that you have in other cultures, you have where it's believed that a god will die and resurrect. The difference is that Jesus is the only Son of God that died not for himself, but for others. And he was resurrected on the third day by the power of the one true God. Now, see, in the scriptures, it says, God says, don't have any other gods before me. Well, if there's not other gods, then why would the one true God say, don't have any other gods before me? God lets us know that there are other gods. Matter of fact, people don't realize this, but God actually had the congregation of the gods. He actually had a place, which was in Eden, which was on a mountain, that the gods, the 70 gods that he had placed over the 70 nations, he came and would have discussions with him about what was going on in the world. He entrusted these gods to bring them understanding and bring them on the path to him. Instead, they brought them to the path within themselves. They wanted to be worshiped, and they didn't want. And when you think of worship, you think, okay, I go to church, I sing, I pray. No, worship is the intent of your words, the power you give to that entity. It's the same thing. You speak it into existence. So the worship was where they would be essentially enlightened and raised up to a higher level within themselves. Matter of fact, they sit here in the book of Enoch. It says, and there were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the Mount of Hermon, and they called it Mount Hermon because they sworn and bound themselves by a mutual curse and oath of words to do this act. And there was 200 of them. These are the names of the leaders of them: Semzaza, Arkabah, Kamiel, Kakabel, Tamel, Ramal, Damael, Zebkael, and Bakula, Aziel, and it goes on.
Kal-El.
Well, that actually means God.
Kal-El?
Yeah.
Oh, I was joking.
El actually means God in all languages. Sweet thing. And so what they did next is, this is what their oath was. Their oath was, and they came, and all of them together went and took wives for themselves.
Yes.
Each chose one for himself, and they began to go into them and defile themselves with sex with them. And the angels taught them charms, spells, cutting of roots, and make them equated with plants. And the women became pregnant, and they bare large giants, Nephilim, whose height was 3,000 cubits ells. The giants consumed all the work and the toil of man. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind, and began to sin against birds, beasts, reptiles, fish, and devoured one another's flesh and drank their blood. That's where vampires come from. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. Aziel taught men to make swords, knives, shields, breastplates, taught them about all metals, and earth, and art, and working them, and bracelets, and ornaments, and all the use of autonomy, and beautified their eyelids, and all kinds of precious stones, all coloring of dyes. And there was a great impurity, and they turned away from God, and committed fornication, and led astray, and became corrupt in all ways. So what we're finding out is that these gods changed the DNA of the fish and other animals and the livestock. So when you sit here and you're seeing that you have a minotaur in some of the ancient texts, you see some of the Egyptians where they have a head of a beast and a body of a man, and you're thinking that is fake and that that's just somebody's make believe. No, that is a literal creature that was created. When it says that they created, it actually says they copulated, and they also what?
Rowan. He's trying to climb up the wall because I said the floor is lava in the bathroom, and that's where his daddy's at. And he's trying to climb up the wall to go on the counters. Roman, there's no more floor lava.
No more floor lava.
Oh God.
Oh, gone. You're safe now.
Now he walked.
Did he?
Okay, floor is lava.
Oh, this is awesome.
Oh, he's stuck. He's stuck in the closet now. The floor is lava.
Don't show him the 1987 movie Volcano. That'll give him nightmares.
Oh, I know, right, man.
The one with Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
I watched that not too long ago.
No, that was Dante's Peak. The volcano
Yeah, I'm talking about
one was.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, yeah.
With the tar pits and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, don't show that movie to a small child because you literally see lava creeping along the floors of homes and buildings. Yeah.
Same with Dante's Peak.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dante's Peak, I think, is more comical than Volcano.
No, Dante's Peak had the water that had acid, or those boiling.
Oh, yeah.
Sulfur.
Yeah, the sulfur. It had a lot, and then it had the lava flow and the pyroclastic clouds, and the avalanches and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, the Cascade. Yeah.
Is that what he's crying about it? Okay.
Yeah.
If y'all hear a cat cry,
He pushes his off, so
Come
I'm
here.
gonna have him.
come here. It's right here.
He's gonna. I know he's about to cut
Come
me.
here. Come here.
Cut me.
Let people see you eat. Look at you wolf it down.
He's a little fiend.
Look at you. Oh, I know. Don't eat angry.
Don't hold back.
Don't eat angry. Settle down now. Yeah, like you're starving. Like we don't.
I mean, look at the kitty.
He just a growing boy.
Now he did go to the bathroom these 2 days. This morning, didn't he? And this evening, twice. Good.
Mhm.
Good. Clean your plate. That's it. Clean that plate.
Do you know he's gonna sleep the whole time?
Good. He needs it. He's not getting enough rest. But
His hormones been too crazy.
Yeah.
He's never just sleep.
now here's the interesting thing. You heard of the Clash of the Titans?
Mhm.
That was an actual real event that took place in our ancient past. Matter of fact, it's documented in the Mahabharata, which are the Hindu Indian texts. It's also mentioned in the Greek mythology. And here's the interesting thing too. Atlantis was a real place. Atlantis is actually mentioned in the scriptures. Here's the thing too. When you see, there you go, you cleaned it. See, it's all gone. When you who have y'all heard of Sodom and Gomorrah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't watch the movie.
Yeah, don't watch the movie. Why did Sodom and Gomorrah get destroyed?
Because didn't they perform? I can't even think. Didn't they perform something? I don't want to say it on TV.
Okay, so I'll say it. So you're taught that it was destroyed because they were having sex with men and women and women, that they were homosexual. That's the reason why it was destroyed, because that was a perversion.
Yeah, and they totally devoted their society around sexual pleasures and worshiping the flesh, and they completely turned their backs on God.
They went one step further, and this is why God actually passed judgment. Now, I'm going to put this out there because they were sexually deprived. God says that I will let them become a debased mind when they go after, the passions of flesh. And they will no longer be able to ration logically any longer. Matter of fact, we're seeing that in our own nation right now. But Sodom and Gomorrah were not destroyed only because they practiced homosexuality. That's not why they got destroyed. The reason why they got destroyed, utterly destroyed, is it says they went after foreign flesh
Dogs, animals.
and angels. That's why when they saw give us those men, Lot, that just came into your house. And he says, I'll give you my daughters, and you can do whatever you want with my daughters, but please, you cannot do anything to these men. And they go, oh, no, no, no. And so they reached out, grabbed Lot, pulled him in, and they caused them to be blinded, and they groped themselves till they passed out, trying to find the two angels, because they recognized the foreign flesh. They were taking pleasure in the foreign flesh, in sex magic. So this whole time, Abraham is asking God, Yoevahe, if there's 50 good people, will you still kill the place? Will you still destroy it? Well, what if there's 40? What if there's 30? What if there's 10? And God says, I will get your nephew Lot and his family out, but I will destroy Sodom and Gomorrah utterly, where it will no longer be a place in which any animal or human will live at. Sodom and Gomorrah has been found today in the Middle East. Matter of fact, even the sea can't even house the right type of fish, and it's the Dead Sea. Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed because they went after foreign flesh. They were trying to practice the same sex magic that the fallen angels had taught the daughters of men. That's why they had to be destroyed, because they were actually doing these acts with animals, with children, with themselves. And when they recognize that foreign flesh, when they recognize that what we would call divine, because they're better, they're bigger, stronger, or more divine than we are, they went after. They were already practicing these things. Here was the thing too. A lot of people don't realize this, is that, and this goes into the ancient past and ancient cultures. The fallen know that they can't have children again. They know that if they try to have children again, like they did in the before the flood, when they created the Nephilim, they know that immediately God will intervene and that he will destroy it. That's what he did at Sodom and Gomorrah. The same thing was started there at Sodom and Gomorrah that happened in the days of Jared. So what way can they do sex magic? They can have sex magic in ways in which they cannot impregnate the other individual. And that's where those acts come from. It really gets just absolutely crazy when you start to realize that these entities are still walking the earth today, and they're still practicing. And you can find where they are stationed, and where they are is that in that area, sexual perversion runs rapid in the areas that they live in.
In Sodom and Gomorrah?
Like Sodom and Gomorrah? Close. Yeah. Do we know any place in the world where that sexual...
Las Vegas?
Yeah.
New York?
When you not as bad as, I mean,
Miami.
Miami.
Oh God, heck no.
You know, here in this is Tel Aviv, in Israel, Tel Aviv, in the promised land of God, Tel Aviv. Yeah. All right. With this, you know, that is their calling card. Sexual perversion is their calling card. That's how they get magic. Is how they create the intent to happen. Famine, pestilence, plague, death, firstborn child, darkness, several misfortunes that have occurred in every month in 2020. That's true, Master Far. A lot of that stuff, a lot of stuff in 2020 for me. I sat there, was looking at it, and I was like, we have to be able to understand what magic is to be able to see that the debauchery and the tools that is used in these rituals and the energy they're trying to get is from us. When you are afraid of something, you let that fear
Feed it. Yeah.
And this is somebody that's scared of heights, absolutely terrified of heights. But I know that with me being afraid of heights, that I'm giving that power over me. Well, what happens if there's been tests that was done. You should look up. I can't remember the university, but it was they told the students, okay, we're going to have this take place where you are going to be the wardens, the officers, and you are going to be the prison.
Oh, I remember that. I saw it in more than one college class. Yeah.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Okay. Yeah, the same aged people, male and female. Okay. You put one group over another group, and the other group is like your talking. You are like the warden.
I'm sorry to interrupt out a quick Primal. We're talking about Stanford, right?
Yes, thank you, Stanford. Yeah.
Yeah, it was known as the Stanford prison experiment.
Yes, and there was something that was even. What happened is that whenever they enacted the first sexual immorality, everything went downhill after that. They started doing things to the other students that they would have never done to another human being. You should really look it up and see. It is extremely disturbing.
What is it called? The Stanford what?
Stanford prison experiment. It happened, I think, what year did it happen? Oh, yeah, it happened during the month of August in 1971. So at Stanford University, some psychologists and professors, they wanted to find out what it would be like if college students experienced a prison environment. So they had half the students be prisoners who were locked up in the cells, and the other half of the students were the prison guards.
It's a movie.
Yeah, there was a movie that was made on it too.
Yeah, but it really happened. It was a real college experiment that they wanted to try out because they wanted to see the psychological effects that it would have. And within 2 weeks,
it was 6 days.
The guards were overcome with power, and they became abusive, angry tyrants.
They said that
prisoners.
Our planned 2-week investigation into the psychology of prison life had to be ended only after 6 days because of the situation was doing to the college. To the college, what?
It was basically destroying the college's reputation because they were videotaping how students reacted.
Yeah,
and that the students were traumatized with what had happened.
Perceived power focusing on the struggle between prisoners and prison officers.
Yeah.
It was conducted at Stanford University on the days of August 15 through 21, 6 days in 1971, by a research group led by psychology professor Philip Zimbardo, using college students. In the study, volunteers were assigned to be either guards or prisoners. By the flip of a coin in a mock prison, with Zimbardo himself serving as a superintendent, several prisoners left mid-experiment, and the whole experiment was abandoned after 6 days. Early reports on experimental results claimed that students quickly embraced their assigned roles, with some guards enforcing authoritarian measures and ultimately subjecting some prisoners to psychological torture. While many prisoners passively accepted psychological abuse and, by the officer's request, actively harassed other prisoners who tried to stop it. The
Yep.
experiment has been described in many introductory social psychology textbooks, although some have chosen to exclude it because its methodology is sometimes questioned.
Yeah,
I'm
but
going to ask this to my psychology teacher tomorrow.
Yeah. but
Yeah.
the story doesn't end there. It actually there's actually a second part to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what happened was in 2003, when the United States won, well, not won, but was in total control of the city of Baghdad in Iraq, there was a prison complex. I think it's still there, known as Abu Ghraib Prison. It's spelled ABU, and then the second word is GHRAIB. So what happened was United States Marines and Army soldiers who were put in charge of the prison complex.
Yep.
They treated the prisoners horrendously,
Yep.
but they took it a step farther from Stanford. They forced the prisoners
Wow.
to take off all their clothes, strip down naked, and then pile themselves into human piles
Yep.
while they verbally asked them.
They said they included physical and sexual abuse, torture, rape, sodomy, and murder.
Yep.
This is in Wikipedia. And doesn't Guantanamo Bay do this too?
They did, and that's why that's one of the reasons why it was being said that, to be held without due process, it was unheard of. But yet, that's what they did. They did it off site and are able to do it and get away with it because there's no rules of law for them to overshadow them or make them do the right thing. And the thing is that there was another thing that our government did also, which was MK Ultra. Now, MK Ultra, we actually have an individual that is documented that was under the MK Ultra, and not only under MK Ultra, but because what he did later on in his life was a stint of the MK Ultra. That was the Unabomber.
Ted Kaczynski.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was put into the thing as MK Ultra, and because of what he went through in MK Ultra, there is the reason why he became the Unabomber and the stuff today. Also, the CIA back in the day used to put LSD in people's water just to see what would take place and happen.
Yep.
In society.
Mm-hmm.
And what people don't realize is that all these things actually was based off of trying to see what it could actually do to you spiritually. That's what all these programs was for. Can you tear down individuals spiritually? Can you rob them of their humanity? And these are all the teachings and everything that's based off ancient text or based, everything that these things are used from. Why do you think we go to war in the Middle East so much? Why is the Middle East so important? Why is Israel? Isn't it all a desert? Why is it so important?
There's land there that probably they want to find or control.
Every ancient text that I've read and had privy to say all deal with what's also known as the Jacob's Ladder. It is an area in which the most supernatural events have taken place in. They have been documented by the world. And with that, this area has actually literally been touched by divine entities. That's why. And it's so relevant there is because everyone is trying to find that source. They're trying to find that gateway. They're trying to find that doorway to open up, to go through into that type of what you have known in Buddhism is nirvana, enlightenment. And that's and from the Middle East is where magic came from. That's where in that's where. And the other crazy thing too is that I tell this to people too. We think magic is like ooga booga, you source stuff like that. No, science is magic.
Mm-hmm.
That's all science is. Science is actually magic. Having a light in the house and stuff like this is magic.
I
Technology.
bet you somebody coming back from time will call us witches because we flip a switch, we snap our finger with our lighter,
Yep.
flame in our hand. The light switch, they would say we're using sorcery.
We are. Because sorcery magic, people get hung up on that word because they're thinking, oh, magic, supernatural, oh, that's a bunch of bull.
Technology is
Technology is magic. An advanced technology to a primitive race is magic.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. And when you take a look in the scriptures, you take a look at the text, all we're seeing is an advanced technology that we don't comprehend. That's magic. And that is what they're trying to duplicate. And to get the most reaction out of the magic, the science is pushing the fact of making people give up their free will.
Mm.
And if you have people who give up their free will, and then that means they don't stand for anything, which means they will fall for everything.
I don't know if this is true or not.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna send you the link to this. I doubt it. Genetics are studying an ancient DNA discovered. Genetics studying ancient DNAs discovered a girl whose parents were two different species. Crazy
Yeah.
that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw an article about another article like that.
In Germany,
What?
at a lab in Leipzig, Germany, a researcher is puzzling over a piece of ancient bone. Surely it can't be true. According to DNA test results, this relic represents something that paleontologists thought they would never find, a hybrid between two humanities' early relatives. It's no surprise that experts first expect an error has been made, but there's no mistake. Astonishingly, the two remains come from a girl whose parents were from two entirely different species, and this breakthrough could be revolutionized what we know about our ancestors. It doesn't say what species it is.
Well, I saw an article that had a similar study several years ago, almost a decade ago actually, that some paleontologists found archaeological evidence that that when Homo sapiens arrived in Europe during the Ice Age, that they had direct contact with Neanderthals, and that there was nothing preventing them from breeding with each other. And
Did
after,
you,
and
I
after
don't.
they proposed that hypothesis, they ran DNA tests, and they found that DNA extracted from Neanderthal fossils matched up with, I think it was between 10 to 15% of DNA across many European people. So they're finding
Well, I
more
mean,
evidence that Homo
you gotta.
sapiens and Neanderthals bred with each other.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So now you've got to watch this movie, and it's a very old movie. I don't know if he's even existent anymore, but it's called The Quest for Fire.
Yep.
And you see the guy getting a girl from another tribe, but it's like he's more advanced than she is.
Yep.
She's a different species than the guy.
I saw that. I remember that movie.
I
What was
watched
that movie
that.
called?
It's called The Quest for Fire.
Yep.
There's no lines in it whatsoever. It's probably
no words.
it's
acted out.
like, yep. It's all acted out because they have no language to speak.
Yep.
It's just like caveman. I don't think there's dinosaurs in it.
Well, here's the
I don't
thing.
remember if there was dinosaurs in it, but it's all no. There's no dialogue whatsoever.
What if I were to tell you some dinosaurs existed during the time of man?
Oh yeah, they did. The Bible mentions it.
Yes, it does.
Wait, what'd you say?
Dinosaurs were
Are
around during the time of man.
They were around. They said that dinosaurs were around closer to us than it was the ancient Egyptians. Oh wait, I'm getting something mixed up.
There's ancient texts and ancient artwork that shows a matter of fact in the book of Job, it talks about the Leviathan and it talks about the Behemoth. The Behemoth, it says, is the greatest animal that God has ever created, and that its tail is as long as a cedar of Lebanon tree. When you see these depictions, that's a brontosaurus.
Mm-hmm.
The Leviathan is a kind of the same type of creature, but it lives in the water and eats flesh and has a hard scale back. Then that's like what we now call a ancient
An ocean reptile.
Yeah. Dragons are dinosaurs. And they've been that way forever.
Yeah.
There's even places in Texas that actually has where dinosaur footprints and human footprints are in the exact same ancient layer.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the only way it could happen is that they had to be running at the same time. And there's an ancient man footprint and a dinosaur footprint, and they're the same thing.
Unless they're walking together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walking, but they had to be together.
That dragons were pterosaurs, and that water dragons were actually mosasaurs.
Yep.
Water dragons
were actually mosasaurs.
Mosasaurs.
Yeah.
The pet water dragon you can have today.
What pet water dragon you can have today?
You can have a pet water dragon.
Yeah, there's a species of animal known as a water dragon, but
okay.
But like the sea serpent, they're saying that the legend of the sea serpent, how
like Loch Ness?
Yeah, they're saying that those might have actually been mosasaurs.
Oh yeah,
before they went extinct.
Loch Ness is still around. It's not extinct.
Earth. I'm going to tell you right now, and we may get into the discussion of what does the Earth actually look like in one of the things. Now, this y'all will probably think I'm absolutely bonkers and crazy when I tell you
that it's flat,
egg-shaped.
I'll speak for Otto. The Earth is flat.
There's no way.
I can prove it.
Prove it.
Whoa.
Okay.
Prove it.
In all ancient texts, it tells us there's a firmament. All right. As an artist, there's a horizon line. Every artwork starts with a horizon line, and then you base everything from it. Okay. To have a horizon line means you have to have a flat line.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that everything has a horizon line? It's because everything is flat. If there's a curvature, it wouldn't have a horizon line. It would have a catfish type length thing. It would be always angled. It would never be straight like a horizon line. Yeah. Other thing too is that it says the sun and the moon are inside the firmament and they move around the earth. The earth is still and on pillars, and that the earth is also hollow. And that actual hell itself in Tartarus is below. Matter of fact, Russia tried to dig the deepest that any of humans have ever dug using a nuclear diamond drill. And when they got 8 miles deep, they hit something that made the drill completely stop and dulled it. And they couldn't get any further. So we've never been to or past the crust to the mantle. Never. It tells us that there is liquid rock
in the
flat earth. that moves through canals and is released to cause the pressure to be released from the center, which would be the hollow area. Matter of fact, you take a look at NASA, and Nikki's father was going to be an astronaut. He went through all the stuff to become an astronaut. The one thing he did not do is he didn't become a Mason, and he was denied out of the program after that.
Wait, they told him he had to be a member of the Freemasons to go fly into space.
Yes.
Ugh.
Every astronaut that supposedly has flown to outer space have all been Masons from the United States. Every one of them. It tells us in ancient texts that there's a ice wall that encamps around the Earth itself. The ice wall is Antarctica. I actually showed y'all what Admiral Byrd said, that there was another place on the other side of that ice wall, which was the same size as the United States. And it had all the oil and everything that we could, all the resources that we could ever want, and diamonds and gold. But for some reason, we don't go down there and use it because we got kicked out. No human can actually travel to Antarctica without getting government approval. I had a friend. She and her mother went to Antarctica. She said, but we were never allowed to leave the islands and actually go onto the physical continent of Antarctica because it went against the treaties of the world. When we flew down there, our planes had no windows. So we had no idea where we're really going and where we landed. And that when we were there, it was beautiful. She said, but you think that if you spent over $50,000, you wouldn't have to piss in a bucket. So I've seen and met people that have been to these different places.
No, I don't want that one.
And then I've also been the researcher in ancient texts, ancient knowledge, and stuff like that. The Earth being a sphere, spinning globe around, and just going to put it into the scientific means of it, is only 500 years old.
What's that, Otto?
The spinning globe, Earth, is only 500 years old. Okay? Here's the thing. If you take a vacuum and you suck out all the oxygen in that vacuum, can you light a match?
No.
Then how do you have engines that can use fire to project them in a vacuum?
Wait, what? What do you mean?
Say that again, Otter.
You have a vacuum of space.
Okay, I was thinking about a vacuum cleaner.
There's no air.
Okay.
Just like if you can't light a match in a vacuum, how can you use liquid gas to be a projection to project you to A to B if you can never ignite it?
You can't, because in space, everything will freeze up into everything in space will freeze up. Your blood will freeze, and you'll turn to like an ice cube in seconds, and you'll die.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Well, I mean, if you have so when you're in the suit, it's pressurized.
Now, here's the other thing. If you leave our Earth and we're told that space itself is cold, freezing cold, then where are the sun rays that heats up the Earth?
Something's on the bottom. Something
Here's
is
the other
under
thing too.
Go ahead.
Huh?
You know you play the hot and cold game, right?
Yeah.
So when you're playing the game,
I have a thought.
okay.
So also, if you got space is frozen and stuff, then take a look at the Van Allen belt. The Van Allen belt is said that we can't get past the Van Allen belt because of its radiation and gamma radiation and all this that's there. We can't get past the Van Allen belt because we would die. It would literally kill us. But yet the moon is supposedly on the other side of the Van Allen belt. But yet science today tells us that we can never get past the Van Allen belt.
So are you trying to say that the Van Allen belt is surrounding the moon?
Nope, saying that it surrounds us.
He's trying to say that the moon landings were fake.
No, yeah, I know that.
I don't have to say the moon landings are fake. NASA has already said it for themselves, but we've been too busy with the pandemic and everything to actually see what's going on in the shadows of what they're saying.
If you sit there and you look at the photos from and the videos from the landing on the moon, you see that flag waving, but there's no
Why didn't it freeze?
gravity.
Why
There's
didn't
no
it freeze?
gravity.
I hate to tell you this. It's not possible for wind to be on the moon because, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Otto. And plus, there ain't no air.
You want to know what else they? Yeah. Here's the thing too. You know what else they found on the moon? Earth rocks.
Nothing. Wait, what?
Earth rocks.
Yeah, they said the texture of the rocks on the moon were the same as ones on Earth.
All right, so
I actually saw a video on the History Channel explaining why the American flag waved when the astronauts put it on the moon's surface.
Oh, I did too. And scientifically, it wouldn't matter if that's
It wouldn't have waved.
It would not have waved in any way, shape, form, or fashion. You can also
I saw on the History Channel where it did wave. It waved around.
No, there's the pictures and the videos of it waving, but that's not the moon.
Well, here's the thing too.
If reenactment.
Okay,
it's a studio.
Okay, if we went to the moon, and I'm going to pull a clip up and I'll let you hear it from NASA themselves say that they've lost that technology to go back to the moon. That's why we've never been back to the moon. How do you lose technology to get you to the moon, but yet your smartphone has more computer capabilities than they ever had on the lunar landing?
The only reason why they said they landed on the moon and they showed proof is because they wanted to beat the Russians at it. Okay. They want, because Russia was already trying to send a man to the moon. So America wanted to jump in and say, we already did it first.
Well, listen. When I saw that video about the flag waving in space, these team of scientists, they got permission from NASA to put the American flag inside a deoxygen chamber. So there was like no oxygen in it at all. It was just a vacuum. And so they put the flag in it and it waved around. Because in addition to the oxygen, I almost forgot, they also put it in a zero gravity chamber. So an environment with no oxygen and hardly any gravity to pull on it made an American flag a featherweight that didn't know what direction or shape ape to take.
I put a link in the description.
Randomly, like it was waving in the wind.
And I don't know if I'll be able to get the sound, but I want y'all to hear it from NASA themselves, and it's called the Orion Project. And the Orion Project.
You want to put the captions on?
Yeah, let me see if I can do the captions real quick. Captions. There we go.
And full screen it.
Full screen it. Okay, this is directly from NASA. This is the Orion Project.
Or so they say.
I'm going to mute myself.
He drew the Earth as a circle.
Oh.
Wait, the future of the Earth is a circle? You can't create a frickin' planet. Shut up.
You hear that?
Wait, what?
What?
He said the Van Allen belt.
Starts at 1,000 miles above Earth.
Yep. And we have to be able to get past it. Something we have not done. Something. This is NASA. It's not the History Channel. It's not a
Above
conspiracy.
Earth.
Yeah, above Earth, which means one or two things. One, if the Earth is a sphere, then we've never been to the moon because we've never been past the Van Allen belts.
And
NASA
surrounding Earth.
and around Earth. Why does it go blank on the Indian Ocean? Because it does a full rotation of a circle, and you would start back over. It was when the Earth isn't the shape that they say it is, the Indian Ocean always becomes problematic because immediately you would be back on the side where you would have Hawaii, California, and back again. Shouldn't be able to happen when on a sphere Earth. They clearly, in their own words, tell us we've never been past the Van Allen belt. Even if you don't believe that the Earth is flat, that right there from the Orion Project is enough evidence saying we've never been past the Van Allen belt to bring up the question everything. Now, here's the other thing, too. What does the Earth look like?
We don't know.
A marble. A beautiful marble. With all the blues and the greens and the grays from the pollution. But, you know.
Okay.
Well, it didn't always look like that.
So.
Yeah.
Like I saw a discussion about it once, and then I talked it over with some of my friends and relatives, and that like when you look in the book of Genesis, and like when you read what it was like in the Garden of Eden, there are no changing seasons.
Nope.
The seasons did not exist when God originally created the earth.
Oh no, and there was no rain. Rain didn't come. Yeah, rain didn't come till after the flood. That's the reason why everybody freaked out. That's why he thought he was crazy. He was building. He was given 120 years to witness to people that there was going to be this great flood. And they're like, there's no rivers or ocean near us. There's no way it's going to be a great flood. We're not around any water area. It's because it never rained. The first time it rained was when when God
completed.
When the ark was completed, it says that God opened up the firmament and the water came down and the water came out of the ground. Now, here are images of the earth. Okay. As an artist, this is all what we're told the earth looks like from all these different standpoints. But here's the thing. NASA tells us that all these are photoshopped, that there's no true picture of Earth because it has to be photoshopped. As an artist and a photographer, you only add Photoshop and touch up a picture when you want it to look like something that it's not.
What's an ellipsoid?
What now?
Okay, because I'm looking on Wikipedia. An ellipsoid is a surface that may be obtained from a sphere by deforming it by means of directional scalings for more generally of a fine transmission. An ellipsoid is a quadratic surface that is a surface that may be defined as the zero set of polynomial of degree 2 in 3 variables. Degree 2 in 3 variables. What?
All right.
I don't get it. I'll send you the screenshot.
Okay. So here you go. This is all the pictures has been taken. What?
Stop it.
From 1967 67, 72, 2002, 2015. If you take a look at
I see
this,
that. Sorry, I was going. Sorry, I was going to say their graphics are getting a lot better. Fan made. Ding ding ding.
but here's the thing too, is that when you have a picture of this of the Earth, being the way they tell us it's supposed to be, you never see the clouds move. Now, I'm going to put this into perspective for you too. Okay, let's say you're in a car, all right, and you're driving. As you're driving, you're going 60 miles per hour. But yet, you want to be able to immediately exit your vehicle and go to the curb. Does the car have to slow down for you to get to that curve? Or can you just let it go 60 miles per hour and you could just step out anywhere you want to and land where you want to be?
You have to slow down.
Okay. Yeah.
If you jump out of the car if you try to walk out of the car at high speed, you're gonna kill yourself and get all. But if you don't kill yourself, you get a lot of broken bones and blood all over the place.
Okay. Well, how?
Skin.
Yeah. Or your skin. Okay. So we know immediately that if we're going in a vehicle, we're going in one direction, that we know we have to slow that vehicle down so we can actually get out safely. And that vehicle, when we want to get back in it, it can't be going 60 miles per hour and us jump into the car from the curb to get back into the vehicle, correct? All right. So you're taking a rocket ship. No, just a rocket ship. And you're going to go to outer space. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, outer space has got complete where it has, no gravity. It's a void of space. Okay. Now, the Earth is spinning, correctly? The Earth is spinning, right? Do we all, with us? That's what science has told us, right? That the Earth is spinning. So if you go outside of that spinning spheres area, are you going to be able to come back into a spinning thing that hasn't slowed down for you? Can you? You can't.
You have to go in at a certain angle.
What angle?
Or at a certain speed.
Certain speed. You know what the speed is?
What?
Well, however fast the rocket ship's going.
The actual number is 666.666666.
No way.
Yes.
Creepy.
Okay. So God says that they will be beguiled by the great deception. Well, what's a great deception? If we're told that we are in a spinning globe, going in a spinning galaxy that is spinning around the sun god, Ra, and we're all believing that that's the way the earth is told is because we're told by the religion of science, and we believe it. But everything in our rational mind sits here and says that I cannot drive in a vehicle going 60 miles per hour and step out of that car without it slowing down. And I cannot enter that car if it's going at 60 miles per hour because it's got to be at a point in which we both are going at the same exact speed to be able to exit or come back into it. There is no, in all science, there is no way to get around that one point in all of it. Two objects. One will have to, you have a reaction to a reaction to an action. But you have to have both things be able to have a 0 point to meet at. The Earth does not ever slow down if it goes in a spin. It's over 6.
Because it's a constant. Yeah, it's a constant speed.
Yeah, and you got to also put this into equation. It's also spinning around the sun.
Yes.
So if you're going to exit,
it's spinning and rotating.
And it's spinning and rotating, and you're going to exit out of it. How are you going to ever catch back up to it if it never slows down? It's impossible. There's no way to do it.
The gravity of Earth's atmosphere.
What is gravity? Prove gravity.
That's a good question. What is gravity?
Science says that gravity cannot be proven or disproven. It's a theory. Gravity is a theory. What is actual known is magnetism.
Yeah, like we're we're magnets. Like for instance. Oh, sorry, I muted myself. I'm going to use this as an example. Like I'm going to got these like clippers here. If I do this, it's going to go to the ground no matter what, because there's something pulling it down, like a magnet or something like that. And there's also, and it's not just like a metal type magnet, it's also a magnet for everything. And the question is, what is under, like where we can't drill past, what is under, or what's past that's keeping us on here?
If gravity existed, then buoyancy cannot exist. If everything has gravity, then everything is automatically going to go to its lowest point. Buoyancy cannot exist, because that means for that to be is that the water itself would have to have a greater amount of gravity than gravity that's on the land. And for that to happen means you could never enter into the ocean, because the gravity would be too hard for you to do so.
Damn.
Now, I have talked to scientists. I have talked to theologians. And I have, as not only, I'm also a scholar in ancient text. And I take a look at the ancient texts, and all the ancient texts are telling me this is what the earth looks like. Well, with my eyes and science, it matches up with what the ancient text says. Scientists know this. Matter of fact, you could actually look up right now for yourselves and say, what is the best representative by science the earth looks like? Here's what you'll get. It looks like a football, maybe egg-shaped. You know what? It'll look more like a pear.
Apple. I said it. I said.
But yet the pictures that we get, it shows us that it is a circle. But yet science tells us that it's egg-shaped.
But it's not a perfect circle.
It's not. It's like an elongated circle.
Where the pictures that you see are perfect. The ones that come from NASA are perfect circles. Now, if we live in a thing that there's not a creator, in nature, is everything in nature a perfect circle? Then how is it that the planets are all perfect circles?
Unknown.
Optical illusions.
Optical illusions. That means that you have to have something within your peripheral vision that is obscuring what you're seeing.
Exactly.
All right. So, if that's the case, then how is it that the optical illusion is making everything look like a circle? And here's the thing, too. A lot of people sit there and go, well, the Bible doesn't, say one way or another. Actually, it does. Matter of fact, Isaiah tells us that the earth is a circle, and yet he says it's not a ball. He says it's not a sphere. God says, I will make the face of earth my footstool. The earth is on pillars. God says the earth doesn't move. It is stationary. Matter of fact, there's a moment in the Bible where they're holding the arms up. And as long as the arms are held up, the sun or the moon will not move from its course. It'll stand still. And only when the arms fall down does all of a sudden time begin again, that the sun starts to move. And then the arms have to go back up. Dealing with Moses. And when his arms fell, the sun started to move again. So the arms had to be held back up to the point where you had to have people hold his arms up. Now, if we are spinning around the sun and the sun stops in the middle of the air where we're at, and we're supposedly spinning, that means that God not only stopped the sun, he stopped the earth. And automatically it tells you in nature that if you come to a sudden stop, everything will fly off its course. Then how did the world not get destroyed whenever God stopped the sun from moving? The Bible is a flat earth Bible. Ancient texts are flat earth text. It doesn't come into the equation until we become heliocentric and believing that we are revolving around the sun, that we are no longer the center of the universe. We are no longer the apple in God's eyes. We have now taken God out of the equation, and we have believed science over what God's told us in his inherent word. And this is the thing that becomes troubling for people, is when you take a look at science, science is telling us that the earth is stationary. When you have a pendulum, and there's one of the biggest pendulums, I can't remember exactly where it is, but they have to physically make it start moving again. If the earth is moving, the pendulum should never stop moving. It should constantly move.
Oh, that happened at the that happened at the museum here in my town, the Natural History Museum. Used to have a pendulum in the astronomy room, and it was always dangling in the center, not moving at all. The only time it would move back and forth was when people would grab the string and swing it around.
Like that.
Mm-hmm. And so with this, if the earth is moving in a constant motion, then the pendulum should always stay in a constant motion. Here's something else too. We're on a spinning globe and we're dealing with gravity. And I take this phone right here and I throw it up and it comes right back down in the same direction. Up, down. Right? If the earth is in motion, when I throw it up, it should be farther away from me. When you jump up and you change your position in gravity for a split second, the earth itself should move from up underneath you. In all honesty, if you're in an airplane, you should just lift the airplane straight up, let the earth do its movement, and then go back down.
But it's faster to get to where you're going if the plane moves against the thing.
I've talked to pilots, and they go by the instruments within inside. They said, take a look at the flight zone. Take a look at the flight. Matter of fact, there was a lady that was giving birth. And she was on a airplane. Let me see if I can pull it up. Do you remember where that is?
I remember
giving birth on an airplane. Classic.
Yeah, she went into labor.
Woo!
Where was it? Where was it? Flying from London. I'm gonna pull it up for them.
But like I said, look up
Where's that? Hopefully YouTube don't pick that up.
Emergency landing.
This is
Where?
This is Flight 15 to Tower. We're going to have to make an emergency landing because we have a woman on board that's just went into labor. We're going to make an emergency landing. Please come in, over. Classic. Never.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's see.
My cat is just spitting at me for some reason. You said that's when cats get annoyed, Otto, when they go, nah,
Yeah.
nah. How are they annoyed? That's funny. Okay, real quick. Oh, go ahead.
So, here's one event. Emergency landing. Baby on board. Plane makes an emergency landing in Ireland after woman goes into labor. They were traveling from Amsterdam to Atlanta.
Wow.
Okay. So they're going from Amsterdam to Atlanta. Why do they have to land in Ireland?
Wait, what?
Where's Amsterdam?
Amsterdam's over by Germany, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, they're going from where?
Let's see. I want to try and pull up a map.
Okay. What about the stars and the alignments? Like,
Okay. The stars.
during different seasons,
Yeah.
we see different stars.
Right.
And then the southern hemisphere sees different kind of stars also.
Yep.
So, if the Earth was flat, wouldn't we be able to see all the stars?
Nope.
And we weren't moving? Wouldn't the stars be in the same place?
If we were moving, why is the North Star the one star that never moves? If we're moving, like we're told, then why does our constellations stay the same year round? Why do we have the ability to actually map the constellations in the sky, whether they be the Little Dipper, the Big Dipper, the Orion's Belt? Because if we're going in a spinning globe around a spinning sun, and that spinning sun's going on a spinning course in its course in the galaxy, then how does the stars always stay the same? And you can pretty much bet your bottom dollar that the stars are going to be there. The scripture tells us that the stars move. That Earth does not. If you take a camera, and I've done this as a photographer, and I've set a camera up, and I have taken pictures where it's like the frame by frame. And what you're doing is that, I can't remember what it's called right now. My brain's not pulling up the right word. But it shows that the stars are in motion in a circle and they blur out. But yet all my stationary stuff is in that same picture. They don't get blurred out. That means that they're moving. I'm not. Matter of fact, I have video where I've actually taken a camera and zoomed in to the crater of the moon. And it's been perfect. But you try to do that to a star, and it's giving off these different lights and orbs and different things. You can't zoom in on a star. Now, technically, if I really want to, if I went strictly by the ancient text, and I just went straight by what it says stars are actually angels. They are known as the Watchers. They are watching. Why are they watching? Because this planet is a prison planet. Why is it a prison planet? Now, if you're a believer, and this goes for people that are believers, this doesn't go for atheists or anything, just for people that are believers in Jesus Christ, I am going to put this into an idea for you. What is the one thing God cannot look at?
No, that's a good question. I wish I could answer that one.
Sin.
Oh,
What is it that God will not allow to be in his presence?
sin.
Sin. So if God
What
is
is-
absolutely against, what's that, Tiffany?
Oh, I was saying something. I said, what does God not want out of this planet? Sin. Why can't we get past? I'll call it the shield that God has put over this planet, because he doesn't want sin getting out. Because if there are other planets out there with other beings that he's created, that means like they're at peace type thing, no sin, no nothing. And if we left this planet, we would be taking it with us in war, and we'd be like the destroyers and killers and like destroyers of planets.
All right.
Well, I could be wrong.
No. You're on the right. You're on the right thought. Okay. It said that whenever you had the angels left their first state, okay, they left their first state. They got stuck here on Earth.
Yeah.
All right. It also says they could not go back to their first estate. They were stuck here, which means that something took place in which made even the angels themselves not being able to get back into the glory of God. Now, in the scriptures, it says that everything that's past the firmament is in God's throne room. Everything past the firmament is in God's throne room. So that means that God has given us this place. He's put a dome over us. He has separated us from his kingdom, but he has us here. We can't go into God's kingdom because it's, in all honesty, could you really think that are we arrogant enough to believe that we're going to be able to take a rocket ship and fly into God's kingdom and be able to spread the thing that he sits there and says is the thing that he can't look at? Where does sin come from? People think sin comes when Adam and Eve sinned, and that's when sin was introduced into the world. No, it's when the fallen introduced sin, the sin equation, into our DNA, into us at the Garden of Eden. And what happened? We were kicked out of God's garden that was here on earth, kicked out of it, kicked off the mountain, and sent into the wilderness. And God had to move Eden away from here because God can no longer be in the presence of sin, because sin brings corruption. It says sin brings death. Why does it say sin brings death? It's because sin is a corruption code that's been introduced into our DNA.
And God does. Go ahead.
But his son died for us, for our
Yes.
sins.
Exactly, for our sins. So how is it that why is it that Jesus was able to die for our sins and resurrected? It's because Jesus did not have the sin code in him. You receive the sin code through your father.
He was unique.
Genetically, we get our blood types from our fathers. God's blood type is sinless, which means his son, Jesus Christ, his blood type was sinless. It even tells us that when Jesus was nailed to the cross, he cried out, oh, Father, why have you forsaken me? It says that it turns dark and that there's an earthquake. And then Jesus gives up the ghost. Well, that's what it says is that in the actual text, it says that God turned his back on Jesus at that moment because he could not look upon Jesus because of the sin was on him. He was bearing our transgressions. He was bearing our sin. And that when he
That's
died,
good.
yeah, and when he died, he was resurrected. He conquered sin. He conquered death. And that's why it has no more power. Is why we who are born again and will be born again in his image. That's why he is the mediator. It's why he is the Son of God. It's because his DNA was uncorruptible, where our DNA is corrupted. And then when you're taking a look at this here and stuff like that, you're starting to see this pattern of behavior within the world. And let me ask you this: why do you think all cultures that are out there, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, worship a serpent? Why did the Aztecs have a plumed serpent?
Why is the medical sign a snake and the staff?
Yep.
The caduce.
Mhm.
Skadoosh.
Why-
Caduce. Skadoosh.
what- Why is it that the Egyptians have a snake on their forehead? Why is it that their headdress looks like a plumed cobra head? Why is it that we have the mound builders and we have a serpent that's swallowing an egg? Why is it out of all the creatures in the world, why is it that the serpent is so much glorified in all these cultures?
Did you know in some cultures the snake had feet?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and I think it's the African culture that the snake did have feet, and it traded with. What did it trade with? What did he give his feet to? I can't remember who he gave his feet to. The centipede or something. So the centipede could get to the feast, and the snake said, "Okay, here, take my." But it's weird. But anyway, so I don't know.
Because
not getting my feet.
Because the enemy, the actual one that went into the garden and beguiled Eve and Adam sinned, was a serpent, which means it was a seraphim, which means it was serpent-like. Why is it in the Native American culture, especially in Nevada and Oregon and other places out there, they talk about a serpent race that took care of them and let them come out of the earth, out of the caves. It's everything deals with serpent because of the fact that the God of this world wants to be glorified, and the God of this world is a serpent. So what would you do if you met a entity that looked reptilian and it could tell you all this and show you all this technology that we would think is magic, but to it is technology? And why is it that NASA has a forked tongue in their logo?
Same with the hospitals, though. If hospitals are saving lives,
Pharmakia is in the scriptures is called magic.
You know what I always thought
is magic.
Go ahead. You know what I always thought sometimes?
What's that?
Hang on. Hey, what I thought. Okay, sorry, I had to finish that. I'm not the type of person I would go. Well, I can't physically, in my current state right now, I can't go to the hospital and get medication and all that stuff. But sometimes, at the time, I always thought a medication is like magic. And here's what I mean: like God has us get sick in a way. God has us like we're supposed to die a certain way. Like eventually, we're gonna get cancer and all that stuff. And
well, we're not supposed to. We're not supposed to. God doesn't put that on us.
Well,
That is
sometimes
the
I feel
nature
like
of the world.
sometimes I feel like medicine or something like that is we're altering our like our when we're supposed to die or something like that. I don't know. But
Well,
that's
no.
probably just
I
me.
mean, no. I mean, when you take a look at science and you take a look at transhumanists and transhumanism, the whole purpose of that is creating yourself a immortal body, even though you're mortal.
No.
Now, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on this flat Earth thing.
Okay.
Where does it end? Where does it begin and where does it end? Tell me exactly, because I want to see if I could.
Let me show
You
you.
want to try the end of
What
the
country
world?
does it stop at, or where on the globe does it stop at to make it flat, round, flat,
Yeah.
whatever you call a pizza?
Why
Because
you want?
I've
You wanna
flown
go-
to different countries.
Mhm.
Okay, and now if this pizza, okay, here's the Earth, here's the Pacific Ocean, here's Asia. Okay, wait. Here's the Pacific Ocean. Okay, here's Asia and everything in it. On this side, here's the United States. There's Africa. There's there. Okay, I flew this way to get to the Philippines, which would be over here.
Okay.
Now, if we flew and the Earth was flat, wouldn't we be in outer space if we kept going straight?
No.
So how
yeah.
did I get to the United States to clear across the other side of the nation and then or the world and then back the other way if the Earth was flat?
Okay.
Because
And then we're also going by the timelines too, because the timelines is, you know what I mean?
Because
All
I'm
right.
gonna say
You see this?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're just moving in a circle like this. Like my little icon is the airplane. Boop. 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 Boop.
Planes have a
Boop.
certain course they're supposed
Or
to
I'm
take.
gonna go this way. I'm gonna go this way. Why does it take so long to get certain areas? Why do you have to have layovers? Guess what? Right here is your ice wall. It goes around the whole Earth.
I'm still having issues.
And here's how you flight course. You should look up flight patterns.
Well, then how come? Okay, so how come if it was flat like that, how come it's different? The times are different. It's a different time of day in the southern and northern hemisphere.
Okay.
Wouldn't there be no southern hemisphere, no northern hemisphere if the Earth was truly flat like you're saying it is?
All right. Let me do this. It's okay. Let me do this. All right. Okay. The Earth is flat. It's inside of a firmament, and you've got the sun and the moon that are moving. Okay.
So it's still slightly like this, right?
Planes have a hang on.
Now, here's the other thing for you too. How do you have a solar eclipse? How is it possible for the moon to move in front of the sun and be perfect mathematically to cause a solar eclipse?
I want to know that question too. I was going to ask something
Because
about
they're the
this
same
earlier.
size. They're the same size.
So that means the moon is
So you got the sun will be moving this way, which means in a 24-hour period, it goes this way. So why is it that Alaska sits there and has more sunlight during certain times? It's because the sun and the moon, even though they're going around like this, when it comes to the seasons and stuff, the sun and the moon go outward and inward. Sometimes they go smaller, and then they get bigger outwards. And there goes your hours. Why is it that you can go to Antarctica and almost never have any darkness? and you can actually look it up and follow a stock motion pictures that they're taking. And then as soon as the time in which the zone, when the sun should not be seen anymore, the videos stop every time in that same spot, and then it picks back up an hour later, and then the sun's back in the same area. You never see it go all the way around through our scientific method. But when you have a moon and a sun closer here, it means the ones that's in that center part that I just showed y'all, which is this one right here, this little center part right here in the middle, you're going to have more sunlight in this area.
Yeah, because the sun is in the center of it.
And then as the thing moves around, the sun's going around.
Okay, so where's the South Pole?
The South Pole is
There ain't no South Pole. Oh, shit.
Well, you're right. It's really not a South Pole. Why is it that when you have a compass, you have due north and true north? If the compass is supposed to be pointing to true north, then our compass should never be off where we have to adjust it to get it back right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Where's
I have
the
an
water?
interesting question. I have
What
an
now?
interesting question. Oh, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Ask a question.
Yeah, had to put that out for a minute. Okay. All right. For example, the compass points north and all that. Does that mean we're being misled? Like the compasses or some shit are programmed for us to go a certain direction instead of going the right direction where they're hiding the bullshit or whatever? And plus, real quick, I also wanted to point this out. Planes have a certain course. And also, like, if you go to a certain part of the ocean, there's going to be the Coast Guard and all that stuff. They're going to be like, hey, turn back or you will be fired upon or be arrested.
That's true.
Planes have to...
Yeah, and I'm going to answer what you're saying because I know which way you're going. What's that, baby Mo?
Now, if you're saying that a compass, okay, so a compass is, how do you say it? Where it's a magnetic thing, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But now, Bermuda Triangle, they've said that there was compasses that spin out of control because of the magnetic issues. Now,
Which will be what is called in the Bible Jacob's ladder.
The Bermuda Triangle. Now, wouldn't that be happening all over the world? If it was a magnet thing?
See, the thing is that you also have in these areas, there are things that's known as hotspots, things in which the natural law of things are distorted and messed up in some shape, form, or fashion. In ancient texts, these areas are where you can you get disordered, you get vertigo, stuff like that. And there was things in which was known as stargates. Okay.
Yeah.
These things are mentioned in the ancient text. The Bible calls them Jacob's ladder. I saw angels going up, to and fro, going up and down in this area. And I knew this area was unique and different, and that I set up rocks so that I knew that God was here.
Does Jacob's ladder move?
What now?
Does it move?
Does what move?
Or is there more than one Jacob's ladder?
Yes. And they all got shut down for a reason. So we got in lockdown. It's the one thing that they're trying to open back up. You can take a look at this when you see CERN. And they're trying to talk about opening up portals to different dimensions.
Yeah.
Are they trying to find a way to get into heaven?
Yes. That's what the whole thing about the thing about when you take a look at the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel was not about people coming together. It was them trying to build something to get into the throne room of God so that they could overthrow God. the whole and God came down and confused our languages at the Tower of Babel because man was in another state of rebellion. God didn't destroy them for that rebellion because they had not gone after foreign flesh. That's why and here's the thing too, when you have the flood story, the reason why we have the flood wasn't because sin was so great in the world. Sin was great in the world. Sin was horrible. But God says, my spirit shall not strive with man, but for 120 years, where man used to live 800, 900 years. What it is that God is wiping out an anomaly that was never supposed to meant to be, which was the Nephilim. So God's wiping out the Nephilim tribes with the flood and what the fallen angels, and capturing those fallen angels and putting them into their prisons, into Tartarus is where God put them. Even Peter tells us in 2 Peter that Jesus went to Tartarus and declared to the fallen ones that he was the redeemer of mankind. So when you start to see this constant thread going in the ancient text, you're realizing that there are different areas that's been portals that's been opened, and all of a sudden they've been closed off, they've been shut off, and that would be where we're having these distorted issues. I mean, you've got places like Skinwalker Ranch, you've got the Bermuda Triangle, you got the Triangle of Alaska, you got the Middle East
Triangle. Have you guys heard of that one?
Which one?
The Dragon's Triangle.
Dragon's Triangle, the Devil's
What's
Triangle.
that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's really great, Baby Mahal. There is the Dragon's Triangle. It's basically known as the Japanese Bermuda Triangle.
Yep.
Yeah, just look it up on your internet search engine. The Dragon's Triangle. It's just like the Bermuda Triangle, only it's twice as large. But if you draw a straight line through the planet, through a sphere-shaped Earth, from the Bermuda Triangle, what comes out at the other end is the center of the Dragon's Triangle.
That still matches up also with the flat Earth, is that you have these different coordinates in different places.
Guam,
You have 33.
Philippines. Holy cow!
Yeah, the Dragon's Triangle is no joke.
Yeah.
Hold on. Can I screen share?
You should be able to.
Oh,
Yep.
Philippines. This is where I'm gonna, here, Japan, Yamari, something island, and then Guam. This whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's, what is this? The Bermuda Triangle?
Yeah, that's the Bermuda, because that's Florida and Cuba.
Yep. I've been in that. I've been in it, and when I had an experience that took place there that I still to this day cannot fully understand what I saw.
We're gonna go from here to here and back.
Yeah,
Question is, what's at the center of that shit?
we went through, and this was the crazy thing. Me and Nikki went on a cruise back in 2005, and we were going to go down to the Bahamas, but we were going to go further out because we were going to have more time out at sea as we did a round about to come back down to Bahamas. Thank you. To the Bahamas. Well, we were actually just got finished watching a magic show at the thing, and I decided I wanted to go to the deck area, and I wanted to hear the people playing the piano, and I wanted to go, and so I went and got me a martini.
Ooh, sweet, man.
So as I got the martini, and Nikki was with me, and we were walking, all of a sudden the ship itself literally moves over. Remember when we went outside and the sky was purplish, and the sky went from, it was nighttime,
Mm-hmm.
to all of a sudden the sky turned purple and teal, and the wind picked up, and the wind started picking up. Things started not going right. Lights were coming in and out, off and on. And whenever we were looking, because on the ship it showed us where we were located, and I sat there and I was looking where we were located on the ship, because my uncle had taught me, because he was a captain when he was in the Navy, and I was like, we're right in the corner of the Bermuda Triangle. We're farther in, but we're actually in the Bermuda Triangle. And it was one of the weirdest things that I had ever experienced outside. The air went ice cold from being very nice and humid and feeling, but it went cold. The wind picked up. The sky turned purplish teal.
Yeah.
As much as I would,
even if you look at the most famous, even the most famous of the Bermuda Triangle mysteries, look at what happened to Flight 19. That in itself is spooky enough. You guys all know what that story's about. What? Flight 19.
You have
Amelia Earhart.
No.
No, okay, so Amelia Earhart, she
know.
was flying. They said that she was in Guam, but she was flying over the Pacific Ocean. Now they can't find her. She was in that not Devil's Triangle, Dragon's Triangle.
Also, think of this: if you're told that you're on a spinning globe and you're going by your own measurements. See, nowadays our aircraft controller and our pilots are using a navigational system that is plugged into the planes itself, and they're not supposed to use their eyes to find their destination. They're supposed to go by the instruments only.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened with Flight 19.
Mm-hmm. And when the instruments mess up and can't find your place because there's an anomaly that takes place. And see, it didn't just happen to Flight 19. It also happened to whenever they sent out a military convoy to go see what happened to also the military planes that disappeared. And then that convoy plane disappeared. There's still to this day, no one knows. And I sit there and say that if you go by the ancient text and it talks about these areas in which you could call stargates, wormholes, or whatever, could these people be going into an area that they're literally getting zapped out of? And for me personally, this is my hypothesis. It's my theory. I think that when they get there and they get wherever they go, they get stuck in the center Earth, the inner Earth. Because I don't believe that they're going to another galaxy. I do believe that there is something below our surface. Because
so Steven Spielberg got it wrong with Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I do look into the inner Earth, the center Earth, hollow Earth, and I actually look at that and go, okay, that matches up with ancient text. It matches up with things that we can't explain. And at the same time, we have no idea. And here's the thing too: we have caves that go so deep that some of them have never been mapped because they go so far down, so deep into.
Well, do we really know what's inside there in this trench, the deepest surface on planet Earth?
Exactly. I think there's probably megalodons down there. To be honest, I think there's something down there because take a look at the thing called the blip. Or the bloop. Thank you. You take a look at the bloop, and still to this day, that's something that they cannot explain. But how big that thing is, you can also take a look at some whales and see that they've been attacked by a giant squid, which sailors used to call the Kraken. So, I mean, there are sea creatures. I mean, the sea creatures that are mentioned, even in the ancient text. The thing too is that you have Jonah get swallowed by a big fish, but what people don't realize is that fish was created by God at that moment. Here's the other thing too: when Jonah got spewed up by the fish onto the land of Nineveh, do you want to know why they listened to him? Why a nation that was not that they were a Gentile nation. They were not a Israel nation. They were not,
Yeah.
they were told that they had to repent. You want to know why they repented? Because this guy got spewed up by a fish, and they worshiped Dagon, the fish god, and he conquered the fish. His god delivered him from the mouth of Dagon. That's why they repented in the way they repented. That's why they all burnt ash and put sackcloth on their bodies and repented and worshiped the one true God. Was because the one true God just beat their god, Dagon, which is also known as Baal. The flat earth thing's still getting to you, baby home.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm thinking about the equator now, and I'm looking at a picture right now of the bloop, but then there's a picture of the world, but on like a hard map.
Here's the thing: the center of the Earth isn't that far from the surface. It's actually pretty close, because science states that the widest point of the Earth is the equator, and they've determined the equator is only 8,000 miles. That means halfway. Yeah, 8,000 miles. So halfway through that is the center of the Earth, which is only 4,000 miles from the surface. And the continental United States is 3,000 miles long. I don't know how much of a... so, like, just go 500 miles outward from both coastlines of the continental U.S., and that's the distance from the surface of the Earth to the absolute center. It's only 4,000 miles.
But aren't we on the surface?
I'm going to bring up the Salt Lakes. How flat is that?
They're below sea level, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've never been to Salt Lake City.
But isn't it supposed to be? There's always supposed to be some curve.
It's dry. It's not even. There's no water.
Yeah, but look how flat it is. Why is it so flat?
I don't know.
If there's curvature, there has to be some curvature. Science tells us that it's supposed to be 8 feet by 8 feet by 8 feet. The farther out you go by miles, the curvature of the Earth is supposed to start off at that point. And if that's the case, there should be. How is it that water can be level? On a curved Earth, the water can never be level.
But if I'm flying, I see that curvature.
You do?
I do see a curvature when I'm flying. I've seen the picture of where the atmosphere meets the you know what I mean? The atmosphere meets the Earth. I've seen that curvature.
No, you haven't. Nobody's seen the curvature because I've been on planes, and the reason why I say you haven't is because the windows are fisheye. That's why you see a curvature. Every airline has now fisheye windows. It's also why you're told not to film out the windows of airplanes. That can actually get and that can actually get you in trouble with.
You can't have square windows on airplanes.
Why not?
Because I saw a documentary once that during the early 70s they made these airplanes, and that they were spontaneously breaking into a million pieces, and so they had another airplane flight, and they went through 3 of them, and they all spontaneously disintegrated the moment they took flight. And so they had another smaller plane fly out alongside the next one, and as they were filming, they noticed cracks appeared on the fuselage at the corners of the square windows, and that's why those other planes all what fell apart. I saw it on the History Channel years ago, and just like Google airplane with square windows. That's why airplanes aren't allowed to have square windows. So much pressure builds up corners that it literally cracks open the fuselage, and it just breaks apart. So that's why
And
airplanes are only allowed to have circle windows, because that's the only shape that can handle the pressure of flying up into the atmosphere.
Hmm.
Hold on, I'm listening to the bloop now.
well, I've got someone each you need to look up. Look up Picard
The
and
Star Trek.
and Admiral Byrd, but look up Picard. Actually, Patrick Picard, or what's his name? Captain Picard. Patrick Stewart's character is based. His family is based off of an actual scientist that went up into the atmosphere of the Earth with a weather balloon. Where he went up, he was lost, and he describes what he sees, and he describes a flat Earth. There was a magazine that was the Natural Science magazine that came out, and when he did his scientific research and showed, he still to this day has not been refuted. Everything that we're told about science and everything we're told about the way the Earth looks and everything is a theory.
So what are we looking at when the astronauts are taking pictures of Earth? If we were really a flat Earth, I mean, yeah, we can't get to the moon, but I'm sure we can get to outer space before that belt. And they took a picture of Earth. Wouldn't you be able to see what that map was showing you? You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
This is going to heck.
Here's the question that I've always asked. If flat earthers are absolutely wrong, the one thing NASA should be able to do is go up there, take a picture of the Earth, say, here you go. Don't Photoshop it in any shape, form, or fashion. You could actually do a live feed. Matter of fact, Red Bull did a live feed, but they were told by the government they had to use a fisheye lens. They could not use a flat lens. They had to use a fisheye. Well, why would you tell someone to use a fisheye and not use a flat? Because you would want to be able to get majority of the picture in there. But why are you making it where it's a fisheye? It's going to make it distorted. Why is the government? Why is it that whenever SpaceX or any of those, when they first start off, every time they get to a certain altitude, their rockets explode? It's because they're hitting something. Why is it everything goes in a curve? As you follow the curvature of what they're doing, they're going from 1A to B, and they land. If we've been to outer space and we have a space station, then why do we have the Orion Project putting us back into rockets and not into what we have already? It's because it's a plane. It's a high-tech plane that's flying. It gets up into that orbit, it has enough fuel to keep it up there to do whatever experiments they're doing. Here's the other thing too. In the 1950s and 60s, you had Operation Fishbowl. We shot up 50 to 60 nuclear bombs trying to get past our atmosphere. And it shows and is documented, and this has been open for anybody to go and look at themselves. You can actually see where it's hitting something up there, and it ripples. The nuclear bombs ripple. Why would they ripple if they're hitting, if there's nothing there? They should be able to shoot a nuclear warhead outside. If we're already sending rockets up there, we should be able to send things that way. Why is that? Let me see. I'm gonna try and find.
You're having fun with this, aren't you, Otto?
I am too. I am too, though.
But you guys are forgetting. Yeah, but you guys throughout this conversation have forgotten the big picture. I can't
What's
believe
that?
you've forgotten it.
What now?
NASA went farther than the moon.
How if they said they can't get past it?
They said that they can't get
They
past
can't get past the Van Allen belt. Did you know
Van
there's
Allen
a place?
belt.
You know there's a place in Mexico that is actually being used by NASA to emulate and videotape what the surface of Mars is supposed to be like. And did you know the pictures that we have that's coming from the rover are the same pictures that if you
That's
go
what
down
I was
into
about to
Mexico,
ask you
you
too.
can actually take pictures in
Mars.
this area, and it's
I got one for you.
absolutely the same.
Red
I got
Rock.
one for you, Otto.
The Red
I got
Rock.
one for you, Otto. I got one for you, Otto. How
Yeah.
do we know that there's a, excuse the language, how do we know there's a freaking Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, and whatever? How do we
Why
know
do
that
they
there's,
keep getting rid of Pluto?
how do we know there's other planets out there? Because
How did they get to get rid of Pluto? Is that what you asked?
That too. Pluto was 9th planet. I always learned it was the 9th planet. And then they got rid of it.
Why did they name the planets after false gods? Why has every space thing been named Orion?
After Greek gods.
Named after Greek gods.
Or constellation.
Yeah. Why? If we're a Christian nation at the time of these things are supposed to have been taking place, we were supposed to be a Christian nation. Why would you not name them after something in the Bible? Here's the thing, and this is to help answer your question about the sun and the moon moving for you, baby Hall. There is the trajectory.
Okay, so now that's summer over Australia. Now it's gonna be winter or summer over the North America. Okay, so you're saying that Alaska is the very top of the world.
Yes, I am.
Well,
Yes, absolutely am.
and so Alaska is the center point for something that we don't know what that something is.
Right there, see? That's my next question. Why?
Alaska is the entrance to something we're not supposed to know, and it's being heavily guarded because that's a center point or some shit. If I'm not mistaken, Otto. There's something there that they're hiding.
We're gonna have to continue this conversation tomorrow or something because
because I got to get up in
it's
5
1
hours.
o'clock. I've got to get up. Yep, 5 hours.
What
But this
time
is a very 5 o'clock, 1 o'clock.
Damn! That long? Holy crap!
All right, here's the other thing too.
Oh my babies!
Okay, if there's nothing vegetational wise, why is it that penguins are in Antarctica and not at the North Pole?
Penguins?
What do you mean?
Why is it that penguins are in Antarctica and there's not anything at the North Pole?
Poor penguins.
Science has told us is that there's actually there's vegetation and stuff in Antarctica.
But you're saying Antarctica is surrounding the whole globe.
The ice is, yes, but there's something on the other side of the ice wall. Admiral Byrd even told us there was something on the other side of the ice walls. History and ancient text has told us there's something on the other side of the ice wall.
Can you go back to that picture that you showed me
of
the ice wall?
Yeah, I can do that. Let's do this. Let me go back to find the ice, get through the ice wall.
And this will be my last question.
I want to do this real quick.
A plane.
Yeah. And let me pull this up real quick.
Oh no, it's a plane!
My husband's laughing at us.
That's okay.
He was laughing at us. He's like, oh my gosh, the Earth is round.
I didn't say the Earth wasn't
sorry.
round. The Earth is round. I mean, Earth is a circle. I'm just saying it's not a sphere.
The best argument in live stream history.
I am not saying that the Earth is not a circle. I'm not saying the Earth is not round. I'm just saying that the Earth is not a sphere.
Are you also saying that the Earth is dome shaped?
Oh my fucking god!
Like it's round.
It's
like it's got a curve to it, right?
The shape of the firmament, we're not told what the shape of the firmament is. We just know that there's a firmament up there. Matter of fact, the firmament is actually colored blue. So there's your ice wall.
Okay. If we could bring up the picture that you brought up.
Oh, the map?
The map. Because.
Wait a second. Yeah, let me do that. I'm going to pull that map back up.
I'm trying to, I'm trying to like, you know.
You're trying not to laugh?
So no, I know that the Earth is round. And when I say round.
Mm-hmm.
Round.
But my round was always thought that it was circling the sun.
Okay, so you're
orbiting, right?
Orbiting. Okay.
Making me assume that the Earth is also not just round, but cylindrical. Okay, so see that ice wall. You got that ice wall, right?
Yeah.
You have the ice wall all the way around.
Yep.
All that ocean. Okay. Now you're trying. So this whole where's Antarctica?
That is Antarctica, is the ice.
The ice wall.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to say there's something on the other side of that ice wall.
Ancient texts tell us that there is.
So
Admiral Byrd says that there is something on the other side of the ice wall. He even says it in a when he's talking about in the interview. I shared that with y'all.
Yeah. I got a new phone since then, so I don't have it. But so the ice wall, and then you're saying that there's something on the other side of the whole ice wall?
That's what it says in the ancient text and what he says.
So making your map, your circular map, a little bit bigger, basically saying that that red part could be whatever they found. It's on the other side of that ice wall. And so on.
Yeah. Gilgamesh says that he walks to a desert that's freezing cold and no vegetation. He walks in this. He gets in the ship and he goes to the edge of Earth. He gets to a desert that is gleaming, but it's not of sand, but it's made of water. Ice. Nothing is there. He walks till he gets to that edge. And he goes into a place that's called outer darkness. He goes through the outer darkness, but he has to ask the scorpions, the cherubims, if he's allowed to pass. And they said the only reason why you're able to get here this far is that you must be part God. So you must have you must be 1/3 God, 2/3 man to be able to get this far. Yes, you can go in. He goes in outer darkness and keeps walking till he gets on the other side and he sees the sun and the moon are now behind him as he keeps walking into the outer darkness. He comes into a veil. He walks past the veil and there is a garden like no other. And he's going to go into that garden to find the elixir of immortal life. And it's stolen from him by the serpent. The serpent takes it and steals it from him. And he loses his ability to have immortality. In the book of Enoch. Enoch goes to the same place, but he is allowed to be inside the vehicle, the chariot of the gods, and he's allowed to fly in the chariot of the gods, and he sees the outer darkness, and he sees the thing on the other side. Japan actually has a map that was map making that shows that there are 7 other continents on the other side of the ice wall. Matter of fact, The Nazis even said that there is a landmass on the other side of the ice wall.
Depending on where they entered from, right?
Yes. And that there is also a doorway that leads to the center of the earth. And in the center of the earth, it has its own sun.
Wouldn't the center of the earth be right there where above Canada?
The center of the earth, from I would think, would have been right in the North Pole.
Yeah, right where.
Yeah,
So where are they trying to say the center of the earth is now?
exactly. And that's something that's still being debated by a lot of,
Scientists?
yeah, even flat earthers and sphere earthers are all asking the same thing, going, you know, what's going on? What has caused this? Why do these ancient texts have this stuff in it? When you talk to theologians, here's the thing. You talk to Bible scholars, and I want to end it with this, but when you talk to Bible scholars and you talk to people that's translated the Bible, and you've had people like that's looked at the Dead Sea Scrolls, they will all tell you. Matter of fact, the one person that y'all could look up if you want to, his name is Mike Hessner. Mike Hessner. I'm trying to remember. He is actually a scholar. Actually, he's the one that also helped translate into English the ESV. And he says, I don't believe in the flat earth. But the biblical writers of the Bible, they believed in the flat earth. What I say to people is that if you believe that the Bible is the inherent word of God, which means that all the prophecies in the Bible are true, that everything in the Bible is true, and the Bible is telling you that the earth is flat, and that the earth looks differently than what NASA tells you the earth looks like, who do you put your trust in? God, who has told us exactly what the earth looks like through his inherent word? Or do you trust science and the flaw and the sin nature of man? For me personally, I'm going to believe what the Bible says inherently. It tells me in the ancient text, it tells me in the original text, it tells me that the earth is flat. And for me, I'm going to believe that over what man-made science tells me, because my faith is in that, not in science. Yeah, and not in science.
I'm with you, man.
And I know that that's crazy to some people, or thinks that that's just insanity, but that is where I go, because I have talked to so many different people about this subject, that from someone that is my father-in-law that was going to go into the NASA program, to people I know that have been captains of ships, to airplane pilots, to theologians and people and scholars that know the ancient texts. And I've talked to them, and everyone that sits there, no one can tell me exactly on the side of science exactly the way the earth looks. And they cannot in any way, shape, form, or fashion truly dispute how I take it as the scriptures are true. They can't dispute that either. No matter what scientific method they try to do, or documentary, they can't do it, because at the end of the day, the truth of the matter is, we as a common person, we have no idea what the earth truly looks like, because if we base it off of science, we're going to get a different answer every time. We base it on the ancient text, we're going to get the exact same story every single time. And even when you see things like ancient aliens and stuff, the thing that also is that with ancient aliens and stuff like that, they're already here and they've been here. And UFOs is their technology. and you take a look at the
Mhm.
time that science booms and we have airplanes and we have jets and we have everything, Israel becomes a nation in 1948. At the same time, we have the crash at Roswell. After the crash at Roswell, knowledge increased, as it says in the book of Daniel, and man was able to go to and fro on the earth, which means we were able to do air travel. We were able to go everywhere part of the world through knowledge has increased. You had two major events that took place in 1948. Israel became a nation, and Roswell.
1947 was when Roswell crashed.
Yes, but within those times, you have those two big
It
events
was a
take place.
boom.
And
It
here's
was
the other thing too: is you have Aleister Crowley, whose protege is doing a seance in the desert, trying to call upon Lamb, who looks like a gray alien, by the way, opens up a portal, and a couple of months later, we have the crash in Roswell. Soon after that, you have your war. The war's been going on, and then you have Israel becomes a nation, and it's all fits within that time frame.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember in college I had to do a report on UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did for that project was I tried to prove that UFOs originate from right here on planet Earth. And almost all of the attempts at finding an explanation for UFOs originating from Earth, the results were inconclusive.
We don't have any idea what's coming out of Antarctica, and we don't know what's coming out of our own oceans.
You don't even know what's in Area 51, Nevada.
Yeah.
A lot of
They're
people
hiding
who went to
something.
storm it, they're in jail.
That's true.
But yeah, I'm gonna go because it's
Those two.
already 1:30.
I know, and I got to get up in a couple hours. So I'll talk to y'all guys later.
All right.
And we can pick this up later on the future.
Definitely. This was fun.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Good night, you guys.